of El Trafico last week. And the Blues will be producing their own telecast beginning this upcoming season. How the games will be distributed and what outlets you can find the broadcasts on is still a work in progress. I'm Paul Kopsky from the Royal Banks of Missouri Sports Desk, and now on to traffic. There's an accident on 70 East at 141 with a slight slowdown. 64 West is crowded between Kings Highway and Clayton Skinker, and 5570 West is slow between 255 and Illinois 111. This traffic report is brought to you by Neighbors Credit Union. If you're ready to upsize, downsize, or first-time home buy, turn to the team at Neighbors Credit Union. At Neighbors Credit Union, you'll find great rates, expert advice, and personalized friendly service throughout the entire home loan process and beyond. That's just what you'd expect from a great neighbor. Apply online today at neighborscu.org. From the KTRS Traffic Center, I'm Captain Paul Kopsky on the Big 550 KTRS.
Thank you, Paul. Look at that weather forecast here the rest of the day. Comfortable conditions in the low 80s, low humidity, and that will be the same story tonight, and it's going to let temperatures fall into the low 60s, maybe even into the 50s in the outlying areas. Tomorrow, we'll top out at around 81 degrees before the rain starts to return to the forecast by Friday, but still really comfortable temperatures in the 70s. Currently at Westport Plaza, we've got partly sunny skies and 82 degrees. For the Talk of St. Louis, I'm Brendan Weesey on the Big 550 KTRS.
Can we have a heart-to-heart for a second? I feel like if you're an esthetician, I don't know why you wouldn't be applying for a job at the Only Facial right now. There are so many opportunities for advancement. Every manager and trainer within the organization of the Only Facial started as an esthetician, as a matter of fact. And I want to tell you this. You are not even responsible for selling products or memberships. Instead, what you're going to be doing is what you do best, delivering exceptional results with facials that are exhilarating and building meaningful relationships with your clients. At The Only Facial, they are deeply committed to ongoing education and professional development. You'll know what I'm talking about when you talk to these ladies. This company is growing. People are loving The Only Facial. And in fact, you can make your appointment online now at theonlyfacial.com. They're all over town.
What have we learned about Heidi?
But cockroaches were the least of her problems. Heidi had to fight for every opportunity.
You know, Heidi is, even though she's very kind of sweet and innocent,
Heidi wanted out of the slum, and her agent wasn't doing enough.
Oh my God, they moved Heidi right next to me now.
Although Heidi seems serene,
she's a bit naughty.
she uses an ancient folk remedy to help calm her down.
Heidi is back.
We have hit that middle point of the week. Happy hump day, everybody. Heidi Glaus here with Josh Gilbert, Bob Ramsey, and soon Dr. Ravi Johar, Chief Medical Officer with United Healthcare of Missouri and Illinois. Today with Dr. Johar, we're going to talk testosterone because you've probably seen by now that Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth wants to do a testosterone test for troops. But is there any science behind this? What does testosterone actually do? And are people in need of maybe a replacement therapy, or do most people have enough? So we're going to talk testosterone.
It'll be good because if you just base it on ads,
You'd think everybody needs
Everybody
it.
needs it. Give me a couple gallons of it.
Yeah.
But it will be good to get facts.
We'll talk about what is too much testosterone. I think when you think testosterone, you think of the guys in the gym and, but there's so much more to that. And women have testosterone too. So that's going to be our topic with Dr. Johar.
Always think of a hairy back and maybe a little acne.
Yeah.
Are those real side effects to too much testosterone?
That's often with steroids.
Yeah.
Anabolic steroids. And so how are those two things related?
So true.
Yeah.
So that's all coming up at 3:30. We'll also talk to a digital journalist with ABC News Politics. And it's a warning, as much as we like AI and different things that are happening, chat bots are not the best source for voting information. And you got to be aware of those chat bots that pop up. So we'll talk about that.
Okay.
Some warnings. In the 4 o'clock, we're going to move Lauren a little later. She's going to be at about 4:45, but we're going to check in with ABC News correspondent Chris Boccia. President Trump has approved a U.S.-Saudi civil nuclear agreement. What exactly does that look like? And we'll also talk about the cost of this war. Then in the 5 o'clock, I don't know if you saw this or not, but they have found that Pan Am plane in the Caribbean, which it went down in what?
50.
Oh, 50 something.
It was in the 50s. 53 kind of sticks in my head. I'm not sure.
And I know I've read a couple things about why every time any of us step on a plane now, we actually need to tip our cap to this Pan Am plane. So we'll talk about that in the 5 o'clock. We've got some entertainment news, and then we will wrap this show up with some randoms. Josh, you found an interesting article.
I did. I was going to save it for later, but you guys want it now?
Well, I thought you said I have the topic for the day.
Oh, I didn't know that this was the topic of the day.
Oh, I thought that's what you said.
Well,
no.
sounded pretty bold when you
Yeah,
brought it
I
up.
was going to say,
Look,
like a lot of
got
things.
the topic of the day. You guys just sit back and let me do the show.
I thought that's what you wanted.
Well, look, you guys are building this up. Now it's not going to be very good.
Well, you built it up. We're just repeating what you said.
All right. So The Odyssey is in theaters now.
Yes.
Apparently it's killing it. Bob, are you going to go see it? You guys going to see it?
Because my hypercritical oldest son said it's pretty good. He goes, it's not great, not Christopher Nolan's best, but it's pretty good. So I think I will go see it.
76% year-to-date increase on the book.
I had that in my entertainment, so
being read. So I'll let Heidi cover that. But The Odyssey is back, baby. And if you want to try to read the book,
no,
I did it in college. Good luck. And frankly, I didn't read the whole thing. You just kind of skimmed
I've kind of
through
looked at it a little bit. I'll be honest. I've not read. I'm vaguely aware of both of the poems, Iliad and Odyssey. Vaguely aware.
The Odyssey's better because it's more of an adventure. The Iliad is more just the war.
Yeah.
But Mental Floss has compiled 8 foods that people during the Odyssey, when this book, poem, movie takes place, 8 foods that people might have actually eaten. This is the Bronze Age now.
Which is what?
1200 BCE. So that's 1200 BC.
Okay.
So this is a long time ago. I don't know when the pyramids were built, Bob, but it was
a little bit earlier.
It was even earlier than that. All right, so they talk about wine all the time, but not the way that Mike Ward talks about it, not the one that we drink out of our bottle. They drink diluted wine. And frankly, it says that wine served 20 parts water to 1 part wine, which if you think of a part, just think of an ounce of wine to 20 ounces
Well, that
of water.
wine probably killed what was in the water that might have killed you.
I mean, what's the point, frankly, if we're doing 20 to 1?
Well, I think it was only to give you something safe to drink. I don't think it was for pleasure.
It says that for tougher wines, it would be 3 to 4 parts wine to 1 part water. Either way,
That's for partying.
That's for partying. But that is not. That's some watered down wine.
In fact, I think they said when the guy ran that first marathon, they celebrated and went over to give him a drink, and
he was dead.
It was too late.
Yeah, I always tell people, don't run marathons. Did you hear about the guy who tried it the first time?
Yeah.
I have no idea what you guys are talking about right now.
Oh, the original marathon.
The original
story.
marathon guy was it Marathon to Athens or Athens? I don't know. Marathon was one of the towns. Was it actually 26 miles? Well, it's based on him. He was like Paul Revere.
Sending a message.
Yeah.
To
an urgent message to whatever
So it wasn't
town.
a competition.
No.
He ran all the way there, delivered his message,
And keeled over.
and then promptly keeled over. So be careful. That's a lot of running. Honey was eaten in ancient Greece.
Yeah.
Of course it was. Seafood was big on their diet. Sheep and goat, cheese. They were making cheese back in 1200 BC. So that would have been good. Figs, fruits and vegetables
Do
were
we
big.
like figs? I like fig Newtons.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know that I've ever had it in any other form.
No.
That plant up in Hazelwood that's closing, the Nature's Bakery, they make a lot of breakfast bars that are just like giant fig Newtons. They're good. But a fig by itself, I think it'd be good, like with some cheese. I bet Katie's Pizza and Pasta does a fig something. Bread was a key part of Bronze Age Greek diet. And this is what I found so interesting. In the Odyssey poem, countless references to meat, mostly lamb, mutton, and beef, being devoured by Odysseus and all the other characters.
Nothing
However,
like mutton.
lamb ain't got nothing on this mutton. Meat actually wasn't common in the Bronze Age. Cows were extremely expensive and were generally more prized for their ability to pull plows rather than eaten.
Strength, rather. Yeah, more of a
That makes
utilitarian
sense.
deal.
Yeah.
So most of the livestock back then were put
Working.
to work. And if you wanted dinner, you had to go catch it out of the ocean.
Or grab a lamb.
Or maybe when the lamb was done serving its purpose and the goat, you could eat them. But beef was on the menu, but very sparingly. It just wasn't worth it. You can make more money plowing the fields with that cow.
That's interesting.
So when you think of the Mediterranean diet and how healthy it is, this was it.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Not a lot of beef on that day.
That's really interesting.
No, and not a lot of meat, period. More from the ground.
Yeah.
So I think there is a lesson there. While we're going back in time, it looks like now paying cash without pennies is causing some problems.
Blame me.
Because rounding has businesses charging different prices to different people. And of course, Congress is trying to change that, but by legalizing rounding. Have you heard this? This also might change how nickels then are made.
Just catch up to me, folks.
Is that what it is?
I'm off change. Get off coins. We don't need it.
Yeah.
So what do you do when someone hands you change?
I don't take it.
You just put it there on the table?
Walk away.
I walk away. I'm out of there.
Like if it's a coffee shop, they keep it. If it's the bread company or whatever,
But like
the gas station.
But like so many people now, I rarely use cash.
Yeah.
I carry it mainly for tips. If it's a situation where the tip doesn't show up on the card reader, then I'll use that, or items where you want to do a little extra and give them some cash, but no change.
I'm with Bob. I rarely come into contact with change.
Right.
So I don't know what I do with it.
And so what's the problem? Is it the coin industry?
No, it is basically it's confusing for a lot of people. Some businesses have been rounding to the nearest nickel when giving change.
Without asking?
Yes.
That's a problem.
Well, and
I agree.
There's no really law, so some people are getting upset about this. Some states have existing laws that require exact change or don't allow businesses to charge more or less to some customers than others, even if it's just a couple of pennies lost to the rounding. And that has led to legal issues.
Yeah,
So,
you shouldn't be able to do that without presenting it to the customer, I would think. Right?
Yes. But I don't know now how it all, if they don't have change, I guess you have to either round down or round up. If there's a shortage of change at restaurants, they're trying to figure out now how to do this. So that's where it all kind of stems. But Congress is working to pass a bill called the Common Sense, CENTS, maybe the smartest act, which will hopefully relieve these problems. But
I thought it was designated, but maybe it's not.
It is not.
I had a friend. This had to be 15 years ago at the Buffalo Wild Wings. The waitress came over and say his bill was $12. He gave it $20. It was 12 and change. She gave him like $7 back.
Oh, that happens all the time.
She rounded up for herself, and just rather than I won't trouble you with the change. Here's your $7 back. And she walked away, and he kind of rolled his eyes, and he's like, "Where's the jingle?" And I'm like, "You're gonna give it to her anyway."
Right. Well,
He
I
didn't
thought
like
you were
that
going
she
to
was-
play on the fact that sometimes you get too many big bills back, and maybe you weren't planning on tipping
Oh, yeah.
$10, but now that's all that you have been given back, and you have to either ask to break it.
Oh yeah. As a waiter and a bartender, I was very conscious of the
What you
dollars.
get back.
The dollars I'm handing back to you, because I know if I give you smaller denominations, it's probably going to come right back to me.
I think the thing on the rounding, though, is businesses have to respect the customer.
Yeah.
And you have to let them know. I think that server that you're talking about was wrong. Mm-hmm. I can just give you, do you want the change? Just simple, hey, would you like the change?
Right.
The coins? And then it's up to you. No, you keep it, which is probably what would happen most of the time. But when you do it without bringing the customer into it, I think that's disrespectful.
And I think, as somebody just pointed out, most places put up a little sign saying we round up to the nearest 5 cents, which I guess that's okay, but still, is it legal? And that's kind of the conversation here, because it only takes one person.
But we round up to the nearest 5 cents, but you're also supposed to round down to the nearest 5 cents.
And it depends on what the company or the store or the coffee shop decides to do. What's the policy? And it's not the owner standing there taking the change every time. So now you have a little bit of a discrepancy of who's, following through.
So the common sense, is this a federal thing?
Yes.
Or is every state
No.
allowed to pick their own
This
system?
is Congress is working on
Federal.
this, yes. Nothing is imminent. The bill just calls for testing lower cost nickels also. The bill has passed in the House, yet to pass in the Senate, so we'll see. But there's a reason things happen, we continue with things for so long, and now we just got to work out what happens next.
I got a question for you guys really quickly. We are going swimming tonight. We went swimming, and that's why I wanted it to be hotter outside. We're going swimming.
You guys missed this. We came in, and Josh literally said,
It's too nice out.
"It's too nice out," which just proves you cannot make this man happy. Who has ever said it is too nice out?
A little too nice, actually.
But what does that even mean?
It's not hot enough to go swimming. It's actually
it
going to be
is.
cold tonight.
the
Brendan
heat
said
on.
something, maybe a dip in the 50s. Was that serious?
Do you got a hot tub nearby?
There is a hot tub.
Well,
there's
what
the
are you
answer.
complaining about? Just complains all the time.
It's too nice.
It's too nice. But Finn asked me Monday night when we were going swimming, he said, do I have to put sunscreen on? And I said, no. I mean, it's 7
nighttime.
o'clock. It's 7:30. We'll be okay. What are the two spots that you're most likely to miss with the sunscreen?
Ears and
eyelids.
Oh, Bob's
well
in the
done.
top 5. Heidi's in the top 2.
Mm-hmm.
Well done. That's a good one.
Because I don't want to get it in my eyes.
No.
I avoid it on purpose because I don't want it to sting.
You have to keep your eyes open.
Yeah.
14%
exactly.
of people said they didn't want to get sunblock in their eyes.
Yes.
And listen to this. 5 to 10% of all skin cancers happen on the eyelids.
On the eyelids?
On the eyelids. I mean, maybe if I'm out in the sun and, I'm trying to bake and I close my eyes without sunglasses on. But otherwise, your eyes are mostly open all the time. I never think about it.
Yeah.
I never think about it. And then
But
the other
still,
spot.
if you don't have sunglasses on, and even if your eyes are open, it can get on the
those corners.
those-
On the
yeah,
corners.
I'm going to the dermatologist on Friday. I'll report back.
Ask them about eyelid cancer.
Yeah.
And whether or not we need to be more conscious about it.
Okay, people are weighing in. Bottom of the feet.
Who's putting it on the bottom
Who's
of their
doing
feet?
handstands for 20 minutes?
But if you're just on the lounger,
And you got, I think
guess if you're on a chaise lounge
Yeah.
and you're on your stomach, your feet are
Are
probably
up.
having the bottom of your feet facing the
I will
sun.
say I've never put sunscreen on the bottom of my
No,
feet,
me
though.
neither.
Top of my feet.
Ask the dermatologist. In the palm of our hands, I guess the same thing. I always assume
waving at the sun now?
that everything is so calloused on those two spots that it doesn't matter.
It's not in the sun enough.
No. The number
Cute
one.
that you think you have calloused hands.
I have, Heidi, I'll be honest with you. I have the softest feet.
And probably hands.
When I walk out without shoes on and I step on the smallest rock, it's like, yes.
That was a great shot.
Hey, it's not a
Thank
shot.
you.
It's 100% true. 77%. This is the number one place that we miss. The bridge of your nose. Because you'll get the nose, the top of it, the nostrils, the crevices, but you'll never go up and get that spot in between your forehead and your nose and in between the two of your eyes. And a lot of times, sometimes we put sunscreen on and we're wearing our sunglasses.
So it doesn't get it.
So we don't even think to get it. So 77% of people miss the bridge of their nose. Other places, ears, scalp, the tops of your toes, the backs of your knees, and your armpits.
Yeah, top of the feet, you mentioned it.
Yeah,
I've had the
that
tops
one'll get
burned a few
burned.
times.
I always spray the tops. I never get the, spraying the armpit like you're using the old-fashioned deodorant, but I have had it burn
A little bit
right
under.
close to it, but never on the inside.
So, not that I was going to win any awards or anything. At Lindenwood, my senior year, I was on the trap and skeet team.
Oh.
It's early spring here, but the championship stuff was in Austin, Texas. I think it was Austin. Anyway, it was a long time ago in Texas. And, we're a poor little school. We go down in a couple vans and everything. Had a day off before everything began, and it was like summer arrived from chilly St. Louis to Texas. So my dumb rear gets up on top of the van and kind of lays out.
And just taking it all in.
Taking it all in. I got so burned I could hardly put the shotgun to my shoulder. It was blistered.
Ouch.
Because it wasn't brutally Texas hot. It was still April.
Yeah.
And
you were on a metal
sun.
surface.
Yes.
Which also is bringing more heat.
I learned the hard way, and I did not, as you can imagine, I even put a little towel there as a cushion, and I just did not shoot well.
Did you have one of those mirrored things around your neck?
No, as Heidi pointed out,
What
you
are
don't
those?
need it
It's-
reflecting off the top of the van. It was so stupid.
What are those mirrored things called that you put around your neck to get your face,
Cancer enhancer.
Yeah, cancer.
I don't think that's really what that's for. Those are used in TV for lighting and reflectors. I don't know that people really. I mean, I think that's a joke.
Back in the 80s, they put it around their neck, Stacy's mom, she's got it going on. She has one of those things.
Okay. Somebody said my granddaughter is supposed to come over tomorrow, and I'm like, oh, great. Now it'll be too cold for her to swim. There is no water too cold for any child.
That's right.
Wait a minute. That person is sounding a lot like me.
But Finn cares about cold water. I've never met a child that cared about cold water.
I'm not worried about him.
Right. You're talking about yourself.
We go full circle now.
It's
worried
always about
me.
Josh.
We'll get a little wetsuit.
Oh, boy. It is 3:30. Time to check in with Captain Paul. Save us from Josh.
Will do, Heidi. The roads are pretty quiet right now. 64 West is crowded from Kings Highway to Clayton Skinker and between Lindbergh and Spady. And 64 East is heavy from a mile east of Illinois 157 to 159. This traffic report is brought to you by Westport Plaza. Don't miss the Westport Plaza Family Movie Night on Friday, July 31st for a free showing of The Sandlot. Face painting, concessions, stage show, and then the movie. Bring an unwrapped toy for families in need and get a free Disney on Ice ticket. That's the free family movie night at Westport Plaza on July 31st, presented by Royal Banks of Missouri. From the KTRS Traffic Center, I'm Captain Paul Kopsky on the Big 550 KTRS.
Our friend Liz just said she had a spot removed from the circle under her eye. Luckily benign, still a sensitive, scary spot. Get yourselves checked out, people.
Yeah.
And as I said, I'm going on Friday. The other thing that you need to check out is your HVAC system. Now, most of us have no idea what we're doing other than maybe changing the filter, and that's why you need a team on your side, an Indoor Comfort Team Heating and Air Conditioning. That is a team that you can truly trust. One, they've been around since 1979, so they they've already earned the trust of so many St. Louisans and people around the area, because you don't stay in business that long without the trust of your customers. But the other thing that is really cool is they're your neighbors. They've been doing this. The techs who come in, they're your neighbors. They know how St. Louis weather affects your system. So they really treat you like a neighbor, not like just some random client. And Adam, the owner, he even shares his cell phone and has taken calls at 11 o'clock at night. That's the kind of company that I want to do business with. And the other thing that's really nice is Indoor Comfort Team is a locally owned business. It's a smaller business, but that means they're small enough to care, big enough, however, to handle any possible job you can have. And right now they've got a couple of great promotions going on. One of them is a free second opinion. So if maybe the group you've been working with for a while said, look, you need a really expensive piece, or you need a complete HVAC system, and you're like, I don't know, it was working pretty good, and it's just this, maybe it's not getting as cold. Have Indoor Comfort Team come out and provide you a completely free second opinion. They will re-diagnose the system. They'll confirm whether or not that repair is truly necessary, or if you really do need a replacement, and they'll help you kind of honestly figure out what is best. You can reach Indoor Comfort Team at 314-894-8200. That's 314-894-8200, or find them online at indoorcomfortteam.com.
Did you know Florissant is 240 years old this year? Come out and celebrate 240 years of Florissant at the historic Old St. Ferdinand Shrine. Join the City of Florissant and Old Town Partners for an evening of community and fun. Festivities begin at 5:30 with the unveiling of a 240th anniversary plaque, followed by live music from North Wind's Band at 6, and a family-friendly movie beginning at 7:30. Food and drinks will be available from Knights of Columbus 2951, sponsored by CNB St. Louis Bank and Helfers. Come celebrate Florissant's past, present, and future. We'll see you at the Old St. Ferdinand Shrine.
That's Wednesday, July 29th. Join in the celebration.
What does the Science Center, Lambert Airport, the Magic House, McDonnell Douglas, and St. Louis firehouses all have in common? They all trusted their roof to Beatty Roofing. Beatty Roofing has been in business for 70 years. They're not storm chasers. They're based right here in St. Louis, and they've been doing it right for 70-plus years. And if you need a roofer, Beatty Roofing. In fact, first responders get an extra 10% off all roofs. 314-892-1331 or online, BeattyRoofing.com.
Looking for a new kitchen or bath? Call me, Anne-Marie Boges, the co-host of The Inside Out Show and owner and designer at Anne-Marie Design Studio. Visit our website at annemariestudio.com. We can help make your dream space into a reality. We're a fine kitchen and bath boutique located in Wildwood. We do it all, from design to bid to installation too. Call us today at 636-821-3395 or go online at annemariestudio.com. Let's make your dream kitchen or bath a reality with Anne-Marie Design Studio.
Into left field, hit number 3,000. Save! A Redbird winner!
The rivalry is back. July 27th through the 30th, the Cardinals take on the Cubs for a 4-game series at Busch Stadium. Whether you're wrapping up your workday or looking for a perfect summer night out, there's nothing like Cardinals-Cubs baseball. Share a night with friends, bring the family, or make it a date night as two of baseball's most storied franchises go head-to-head. Get your tickets now at Cardinals.com.
You're listening to the Heidi Glaus Show with Josh Gilbert and Bob Ramsey on the Big 550 KTRS.
Doctor, give me the news. I got a bad case of loving you. No pills gonna cure my ill. I got a bad case of loving you.
Well, the Defense Secretary recently announced a new screening to test troops' testosterone levels. This is for troops 30 and older. Hegseth argues it's to ensure optimal performance. So we wanted to know more about testosterone, and for that, as we usually do with anything medical, we called Dr. Ravi Johar, Chief Medical Officer with United Healthcare. Welcome back.
Good to be with you. Hope all's going well today.
It is a beautiful day. And in case you weren't listening, Josh said it's too pretty of a day.
It's too nice outside.
Too nice.
Yeah, which I did not know was a thing.
One of the texters agreed with me.
They did not say it was too pretty. Let's
They
start.
must not have a pool, Josh.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Let's start with just the basics of testosterone. What is it needed for?
So testosterone is a hormone that's actually present not only in men, but it's also one of the most common hormones in women also. It's important in both to maintain the libido or the sex drive, for men, erectile function. It's important for muscle mass and strength, bone health, energy levels, and having a normal testosterone also helps with mood and a sense of well-being. So it's a very important hormone through the body. We know that the testosterone levels naturally decrease as you get older. Once you start hitting between 30 and 40, they start to go down by about 1% a year. And that persists throughout your life. So it's a normal thing that changes and decreases with age. But as you can see, everyone is trying to replace hormone replacement therapy now. And that's I think, where all the questions come in. And I heard Bob mention a question about steroids and testosterone. And actually, steroids are all the other anabolic steroids are just a synthetic version of the normal testosterone that occurs in men and women.
Got it.
And so the risks and side effects are the same, but the difference between steroids and testosterone replacement therapy is testosterone replacement therapy is designed to get you back to a normal level. Anabolic steroids are designed basically to get you to supraphysiologic or really way above normal levels.
So we mentioned steroids as a way to change your testosterone output. Are there more natural / safer ways to do it if your doctor says it's necessary?
Well, the only thing that's been shown to actually change your testosterone levels is to get testosterone replacement. Right now, if you go into any convenience store or other places or listen to TV, there's all these testosterone boosters or things that you hear about. And actually, those have not been shown to make any difference in the testosterone levels. They're different supplements and things, but they've never really been shown to actually change the testosterone levels in people.
You mentioned that testosterone levels go down, but I read on average only 2% of the male population suffers from low testosterone. Does that seem right?
That sounds about right. I mean, testosterone replacement therapy was designed for what's called hypogonadism, where your testosterone level in men is below 300. Normally, in most men, especially in their 20s and 30s, it's between 450 and 600. Once it gets below 300, that's considered low, but that's at a normal age in the 20s. And that's where it really comes in. Most men will never get to that degree.
Okay.
If you lose 1% a year, it's 60 years before you get to any kind of low level.
Yeah. And so those who have low testosterone, as we've talked about, can turn to testosterone replacement therapy, or TRT, which is what the Pentagon is offering troops. But are there any side effects?
Well, there are risks with testosterone whenever you take them, just like any other medication. And this truly is a medication. Some of the things, the risks are worsening sleep apnea. If you have any kind of sleep disorder, this can actually make it much worse. It causes acne and skin reactions. It actually promotes non-cancerous growth of the prostate. So as we've talked about before, men will during their life either get benign prostatic hyperplasia, where the prostate just increases, or they get prostate cancer. This will increase hyperplasia, although there's been nothing shown that it causes breast or prostate cancer. If you do have an undiagnosed prostate cancer, it'll actually make it worse too. It causes gynecomastia or breast growth. It decreases sperm production and causes the testicles to really shrink down. And it also causes too much red blood cell production, which can then actually increase your risk of forming blood clots and can cause a pulmonary embolism or a heart attack. So there's some significant risks with taking testosterone if you don't need it.
And to Heidi's point, 2% of men have problems with this. What is the threshold going to be in the military? I mean, it seems more of like an optics thing than anything, but I would hate to think that we'd be shooting our troops up with testosterone who didn't need it.
Well, and from what I've read, and this is brand new to all of us, so everyone's trying to digest it and understand it. And there's a lot of dissension in the medical community on whether this is needed, whether it's necessary, things of that sort. But from what I understand, it's going to be optional. They'll just check a level and say, hey, do you want to think about this?
Oh, I see.
Got it.
I don't know if they're insisting on it or demanding it. And there are some things that cause a decrease in testosterone levels. And I think that's where the military is looking at this, especially among the special ops troops. They go through a lot of sleep deprivation. We know that lack of sleep decreases everything in your body, and testosterone is no stranger to that. So that's the thing. Excessive exercise, like you see in athletes or soldiers, can decrease your testosterone just because of all the fatigue that occurs. So those are things that may be a possibility. But the other problem is that, from what I read, they're testing testosterone once a year as part of a physical. For a diagnosis of hypogonadism or decreased testosterone levels, you need to check this on multiple occasions between 7 and 10 a.m. in the morning. That's when the testosterone levels are the highest. But you need to check it on several occasions because testosterone levels fluctuate wildly during the day or during day to day. So a single level alone is not enough to make any kind of diagnosis.
Got it. I know that Hegseth is hoping that this test and then maybe upping testosterone will ensure optimal performance. Is there any science to what he's saying there, that this testosterone will improve performance?
Well, we know that there are some things that testosterone will help combat. We and no pun intended with that we know that having an adequate testosterone level decreases your fatigue or energy. It can help increase muscle mass. It can decrease some body fat. And it can help with decreased mood. But the main thing I think they're focusing on is that a lack of testosterone can reduce your strength and stamina. And so replacing the testosterone could do that. But again, that's based on having a low level.
Yeah.
If you have a normal level or it's fluctuated, we don't know if that's really going to make a big difference.
Got it.
Do we know, is there any connection between testosterone too much or not enough and hair loss?
There is. One of the things.
Are you asking for a friend?
No. I have a follow-up question. Yes, Heidi. Go ahead, doctor.
We know that testosterone is associated with facial hair, certainly, both in men and women, as well as growth of hair throughout the rest of the body. It can definitely do that. Now, conversely, it seems that there's some studies, some things that show that testosterone levels higher testosterone can also increase baldness. So why it affects the scalp differently than the rest of the body, I'm not really certain.
Yeah. And then, we think testosterone male, estrogen female, but we both have both, right?
Testosterone is actually the number 2 hormone in women. So it's every bit as important for women as it is in men. It's just that the levels in women are about 1/10 to 1/20 what they are in men.
Yeah. It's very interesting. Somebody is asking on the text line, does having high body fat cause low testosterone?
Well, again, in women, actually, more body fat increases testosterone because the body is trying to make testosterone. And in women, part of the testosterone in women's body is made by the ovaries. Once the ovaries stop, the body's trying to replace that. So it does that by going with the regular fat in that. In men also, fat cells can lead to some increased testosterone because the body's trying to make testosterone if it needs it.
Got it. So, we've been talking about the troops, but when should somebody get tested about their testosterone levels and maybe consider a treatment?
Sure. I mean, I think if you're having symptoms or problems with decreased testosterone, and those are ones we talked about, those symptoms can include things like a reduced sex drive, erectile dysfunction, fatigue, decreased muscle mass, increasing body fat, difficulty concentrating, decreased strength and stamina. Those are times to go in and say, hey, maybe I need to get this tested. On the other hand, we know that those are also things that are very dependent on other factors going on in your life. If you had any other medical problems, if there's any medications you've been taking, things of that sort. So if you start having these symptoms, instead of just jumping straight to testosterone replacement therapy, it's really beneficial to go in, talk to your physician, see if there's anything else going on, and see if this is just a natural aging phenomenon or if there is something that needs to be treated.
Well, Dr. Ravi Johar, we always appreciate your insight. Thank you so much for walking us through this.
My pleasure. You guys take care. And Josh, I hope it gets warmer for you.
Dr. Johar gets it.
Does he? Or is he just kind of
He's a nice
placating?
man. Let's just leave it.
Yes.
He's a nice man.
He's a very kind man. There's so much to know when it comes to anything medical, when it comes to how your body works. And we are so lucky to have one of the best children's hospitals in the country right here in St. Louis. I'm talking about SSM Health, Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital, and they're always doing something cool. And when they open up this new hospital, they are going to be keeping more moms and babies together after high-risk births. So, for most families, childbirth is filled with all those that first cry, the first cuddle, the first hour spent just kind of getting to hold your new baby. But for parents that face a high-risk pregnancy or a newborn who needs intensive medical care, those first moments are a lot different. That baby is whisked away. Instead of staying together, mothers and babies are separated, sometimes receiving care in different hospitals. And that's what happened to my cousin and my godchild, Sophie. So when the new SSM Health Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital opens late 2027, it's going to include the St. Louis region's first fully integrated Center for Maternal and Newborn Specialized Care, bringing labor and delivery, maternal specialists, fetal care, and the highest level of neonatal intensive care together under one roof, which again, it just proves that Cardinal Glennon is going above and beyond, always doing something exceptional. That's in the day-to-day. So if you're looking to learn more, if you're looking to find a pediatrician, or if you're looking to see about some of the fantastic programs due to the Cardinal Glennon Children's Foundation, you can find all that and all the links at glennon.org.
Jill Farmer for Premier Heating and Cooling. Summer in St. Louis means your air conditioner basically clocks in with a full-time job. And if your AC is 15, 20, or maybe even 25 years old, it could be working a whole lot harder and costing you a whole lot more than it should. A newer, high-efficiency system from Premier Heating and Cooling can cut cooling costs dramatically compared to older units. In some homes, upgrading from a 20-year-old air conditioner to a modern, high-efficiency system can reduce energy use by 20 to 40%. And even a professional clean and check tune-up can improve efficiency, airflow, and help your system keep up during brutal heat waves. Add in a smart thermostat, and the Department of Energy says homeowners can save another 10% a year on heating and cooling costs. So before your old AC taps out during the hottest week of the summer, call the highly trained team at Premier Heating and Cooling. Financing options available. 636-916-1122. PremierHeatingCooling.net. Comfort you can count on.
I'm Reed Millard, president of Lupton Millard Chapel of St. Louis. We've been faithfully serving St. Louis families for generations. At Lupton Millard Chapel, we understand it's the little things that make a big difference for the families we serve. A traditional church funeral or a unique celebration of life. Providing the finest in services and attention to detail has always been the hallmark of our family.
Lupton Millard Chapel, the leader in excellence since 1905. For more information, go to LuptonMillardChapel.com.
Hi, I'm Mike Robinson with Robank Properties, and I want your fixer-upper home. It's crazy to spend a ton of money fixing it up when I will pay you top dollar right now. I don't even care what condition it's in. Your trash is my treasure. No inspections, no contingencies, just cold, hard cash. Call me, Mike Robinson, at 314-283-0867. That's Mike Robinson, 314-283-0867, or at robangproperties.com.
Don't miss Straight Talk on Retirement with Jeff and Aaron Lapidus every Saturday morning from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Join this dynamic father-daughter duo every Saturday morning for an entertaining and intimate understanding of the retirement needs you may soon be facing. From decades of financial planning expertise combined with a deep knowledge of healthcare benefits, Aaron and Jeff will give you the Straight Talk on Retirement every Saturday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. right here on the Big 550 KTRS.
Congress doesn't need more politicians. For nearly 30 years, Joan Von Dross dedicated her life to helping students learn, grow, and succeed. Now she's running for Congress to fight for lower healthcare costs, stronger public schools, and a more affordable future for Missouri families. Teachers solve problems. Politicians play politics.
I'm Joan Von Dross, Democrat from Missouri CD2, and I approve this message. Vote for me on August 4th.
Paid for by Von Dross for Congress.
You're listening to the Heidi Glaus Show with Josh Gilbert and Bob Ramsey on the Big 550 KTRS.
It's 9 minutes before 4 o'clock. Let's get another check of traffic with Captain Paul.
Heidi, there's a crash on 64 West at Ballast with traffic backed up to Clayton Road. 64 West is also crowded from Kings Highway to Clayton Skinker, and it's stop and go between Lake St. Louis Boulevard and I-70. 44 West is slow between Washington and Tucker, and 64 East is jammed from a mile east of Illinois 157 to 159. This traffic report is brought to you by Westport Plaza. Don't miss the Westport Plaza Family Movie Night on Friday, July 31st for a free showing of The Sandlot, face painting, concessions, stage show, and then the movie. Bring an unwrapped toy for families in need and get a free Disney on Ice ticket. That's the free Family Movie Night at Westport Plaza on July 31st, presented by Royal Banks of Missouri. I'm Paul Kopsky from the Royal Banks of Missouri Sports Desk. Actually, from the KTRS Traffic Center, I'm Captain Paul Kopsky on the Big 550 KTRS.
Well, as we're learning, you can ask ChatGPT a lot, but probably not the way you should vote and not the way you should ask who you're voting for. Orrin Oppenheim, digital journalist with ABC News Politics in Washington, joins us with some maybe warnings. And I was going to say, like, how do state leaders who oversee elections feel about people turning to chatbots for information on voting?
So I was actually at a conference of secretaries of state last week that was held in South Dakota, where a lot of these state leaders who run elections were sharing different strategies and thoughts about elections. So I asked a bunch of them, both Democrats and Republicans, how do you feel about voters turning to AI chatbots? And most of them basically said, we're very cautious. Like the Minnesota Secretary of State, for instance, said that he feels voters should seek out trusted sources of information. He feels they should go to secretaries of state websites. Other election officials told me that voters should turn to county websites and be careful of where they're getting their local news and so on. But a lot of them are very cautious. They think that maybe like chatbots are able to surface some accurate information, but they're concerned that voters might get outdated information, incorrect dates, and other stuff.
And here's my worry. Here's my concern. We had our AI guy on earlier in the week. You start to really trust Claude or Grok or ChatGPT or whomever. And then that's when the paid stuff starts trickling in. I mean, these companies have to make money somewhere. At some point, am I going to be getting an answer that has been colored by some money or big business?
So I actually reached out to a couple of the companies that run AI chatbots, such as Anthropic, which oversees Claude, about how they're handling people asking for voting information. Anthropic, for instance, pointed me to a press release they have where they talk about how this year in the midterms, they're going to have a banner that comes up visually when you ask about any voting details that directs users to TurboVote, which is a nonpartisan organization that provides people on information on how to vote, and they've worked with other groups and organizations before. I also asked OpenAI, which runs ChatGPT, and they said they're working with a group called Democracy Works to display reliable voting information. So the companies themselves are saying that they plan to try to surface reliable information on voting and elections if people are asking the chatbots for that, and that they're not just getting stuff from whatever the ChatGPT or the bot is searching, but turning to outside resources in the chatbot.
Yeah, and so if you do want to go that route, are there particular ways to prompt your search to get objective information?
That's a great question. And the companies say that the models are meant to be nonpartisan, are meant to provide unbiased information. Of course, we have seen, and there's been lots of news reports of people asking AI different questions and getting things that have either a political slant or have some problematic information. And that's why the Secretaries of State's office, Secretaries of State basically say you shouldn't rely on these bots. I know more broadly some of the companies that run the AI chatbots have said, regardless of how we're monetizing our models, we're not putting ads or anything sponsored into the what you're seeing and how the bot is answering. But a lot of this is an open question, and Of course, if a chatbot is taking information from somewhere where someone shared a political opinion, for instance, it might surface something. So, again, election officials basically just say, try to rely on official sources like the Secretaries of State website or county election websites.
Smart.
And Oren, in your reporting and in your own experience, are we as users of these things starting to blur the lines between the AI chatbots and the news sites themselves? I mean, I got to imagine if you use Grok all day long, you use it for everything.
We've definitely seen a lot of people who use AI, and this has come up in a lot of other news stories too, where people do rely on it for news or ask a chatbot like Grok, oh, well, what should I know about this candidate? Or is this news story accurate? And some of the chatbots that search the internet might be able to surface some accurate information, but they also may be finding outdated information, things that haven't been updated, or choose something that's not verified. I know when I've experimented occasionally with these chatbots just in a personal capacity, they've sometimes said something wrong. I've corrected the chatbot, and then it says, oh, yeah, of course, you're correct, I'm wrong. But I should have, if I'm a consumer of news, I should definitely just check the primary source first.
Yeah. Oren, thank you so much. It's a great reminder that chatbots are not the best source for voting information.
Mm-hmm. Well, thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, surprise, surprise. That's where we would use that duh liner that we used to have.
But as you just pointed out, we're turning to it for everything, and it kind of just becomes muscle memory. Oh, let me go here and ask.
Yeah, I'll see what Claude thinks, not knowing that Claude is, your chatbot, not your best
Well, we
friend.
learned just the other day with our expert that prompts are the key, and how it gets you to the information you're seeking.
Yeah, how are we asking the question needs to be asked as well. You probably also shouldn't let AI do your taxes for you.
Probably not.
Because does AI know what state you live in? We're about to have a big tax question on the ballot on August 4th about our state tax laws, and they're different in every different state, 50 different states. Which one is Claude giving you advice on? Well, you don't know that. Have a real person do your taxes, and that being Jeff Zufall, Capital Advisory Group, 636-394-5524, 636-394-5524, capitaladvisorygrp.com. And I use it, my parents use it, Heidi uses it, her parents use it, and I don't want to speak too soon. But Bob called Jeff Zufall.
Just said, hey, Jeff. How you doing?
How you doing?
We left it at that.
That's the beginning of the conversation, and then when you see how much he can help you keep, that's when you keep going back. 636-394-5524, capitaladvisorygrp.com.
Every summer, homeowners make plans. A new grill, a backyard project, a family vacation. But what about the upgrades you'll enjoy every single day? If your windows are drafty, difficult to open, or your entry and patio door has seen better days, now is the perfect time to make a change. Renewal by Andersen makes replacing windows and doors simple with beautifully crafted products, professional installation, and a customer experience that's second to none. And right now, you'll save big. Get $1,000 off your patio or entry door purchase and take $400 off each replacement window. All you have to do is call 877-WINDOWS or visit renewalbyanderson.com. Again, that's 877-WINDOWS or visit renewalbyanderson.com. Renewal by Andersen. Superior products, exceptional service.
From ABC News, I'm Lindsay Davis, anchor of Prime, streaming weeknights on ABC News Live. 4 U.S. service members killed in the Middle East last week returned to U.S. soil in a dignified transfer ceremony at Dover Air Force Base. President Trump and top Pentagon officials attended. ABC's Louis Martinez says the solemn ceremony marks the escalation between the U.S. and Iran.
What we've seen now is essentially a return to daily combat, and it's no longer a situation where Iran waits for the United States to attack. They have been carrying out daylight attacks ahead of any U.S. retaliation. So what we're seeing is a return now to daily hostilities.
Ousted Venezuela leader Nicolas Maduro and his wife are back in court for his drug trafficking case.
Maduro appeared at ease as he entered the courtroom without shackles, greeting spectators with good morning in English and waving at one of the sketch artists as he took a seat at the defense table. Judge Alvin Hellerstein promptly set a trial date for June 1st, 2027, the date requested by both prosecutors and defense lawyers. Maduro's lawyers say they plan to file a motion to dismiss the case in September by arguing that Maduro and Flores are protected by sovereign immunity. Peter Haralambous, ABC News, New York.
In Mississippi, the family of Nolan Wells released findings from an independent autopsy. Authorities say the teen drowned following a boating trip with friends July 4th weekend. Family attorney Benjamin Crump says the cause of death remains undetermined.
Attorney Crump releasing these autopsy results and also pointing out the fact that there are missing organs here does put a significant amount of pressure on Mississippi. Certainly, there's been a lot of attention, a growing national attention on this particular case and the transparency around it. Again, that is what the family is asking for, transparency in this investigation. And so they're hoping that the coroner does ultimately release those.
ABC's Alex Prochet. Tropical storm Bertha made landfall in St. Bernard Parish, Louisiana. The storm is losing steam, but officials warn heavy rain could cause severe flooding as it moves toward Texas in the coming days. You're listening to ABC News.
Well, it's official.
If you or anyone you care about is facing a family legal matter, call Cordell & Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. Divorce touches all areas of your life: your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on.
If you or anyone you care about is facing divorce, contact Cordell & Cordell today. With over 100,000 clients served, we understand the challenges you're facing on a personal level. Call Cordell & Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. That's 1-855-GET-LEGAL. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. 600 Kelwood, St. Louis.
Good afternoon. It's 4:03 and 82 degrees at Westport Plaza. I'm Brendan Weesey, and here's the latest from the KTRS Newsroom. U.S. Senator Josh Hawley is requesting additional disaster relief funds for Missouri following the 2025 tornadoes. Hawley sent a letter to the Senate Appropriations Subcommittee on Transportation, Housing, and Urban Development, asking to fully fund the Community Development Block Grant Disaster Recovery Program to provide relief to Missourians. This program can provide additional flexible resources for long-term rehabilitation and recovery for the St. Louis region. Residents have a final chance to weigh in on St. Louis Public Schools' restructuring plan. KTRS's Jill Enders has the story.
A final public meeting will be held tonight to gather feedback on St. Louis Public Schools' plan to close up to 22 schools. Earlier this month, district leaders released 3 draft plans that would reorganize schools before the 2027-28 school year. This is due to declining enrollment and a $41 million budget deficit. The public meeting will be held from 5 to 7 p.m. at Central Office. Jill Enders, KTRS News.
The morning rush got off to a deadly start in Jefferson County. There were 2 fatalities in a one-car crash on Miller Road and Highway MM. According to the High Ridge Fire District, the vehicle veered off the road, went down an embankment, and crashed into a bluff. A 19-year-old man and a 17-year-old boy were pronounced dead at the scene. A former employee at a St. Louis County steakhouse has been sentenced to nearly 2 years in prison for embezzling thousands of dollars. KTRS's Vicki Pimentel has more on the story.
Prosecutors say 48-year-old Michael Brash pleaded guilty earlier this year to misusing the company credit card from Sam's Steakhouse to make personal purchases. Investigators say he posed as the restaurant's owner to hide his scam. He was charged with spending $82,000 at Target, $30,000 at Vineyard Vines clothing store, nearly $40,000 at Amazon, and over $10,000 for accommodations at local hotels for an acquaintance. Barash was sentenced this week to 21 months in prison and ordered to repay the money he embezzled. Vicki Pimentel, KTRS News.
This KTRS Business Minute is brought to you by Walter Knoll Florist, the place for all your floral needs. Place your order anytime at WKF.com. Schnucks Markets has announced the 3rd cohort of companies accepted into Schnucks Springboard. This is an emerging business accelerator designed to provide education, resources, and access to small Midwest businesses. Starting August 6th, these companies will begin receiving business development classes at Schnucks St. Louis headquarters, networking opportunities, and $5,000 of equity-free funding. If these companies meet food safety, insurance, and certification requirements, they will receive an in-store product trial at select Schnucks stores in the spring of 2027. A look now at the markets, presented by JBL Financial. Tune in to Straight Talk on Retirement Saturday mornings from 9 until 11 here on the Big 550. Dow closed down just a few points, 6 points at 52,218. S&P 500 down 10 at 74.98, and the NASDAQ down 146 at 25,690. Now, let's head on over to the Royal Banks of Missouri Sports Desk. That's where we find the good captain himself, Paul Kopsky. Hello, Paul.
Hello, Brendan. St. Louis City SC plays the LA Galaxy late tonight on the West Coast. City is coming off a rivalry win against Sporting. Meanwhile, the Galaxy lost 3-0 to LAFC in the latest installment of El Trafico last week. And Mizzou is bringing on Brian Maggard as their new Deputy Athletics Director and Chief Operating Officer. Maggard was the AD at the University of Louisiana and replaces the retiring Marcy Gerton in Columbia. I'm Paul Kopsky from the Royal Banks of Missouri Sports Desk, and now on to traffic. Traffic is thinning out on 64 West after a crash at Ballas was cleared. 64 West is also busy from Kings Highway to Clayton Skinker, and it's stop and go between Lake St. Louis Boulevard and I-70. 270 South is congested from 64 to Doherty Ferry. 44 West heavy between Washington and Tucker downtown, and 64 East is jammed between Illinois 157 and 159. This traffic report is brought to you by Westport Plaza. Don't miss the Westport Plaza Family Movie Night on Friday, July 31st for a free showing of The Sandlot. Face painting, concession, stage show, and then the movie. Bring an unwrapped toy for families in need and get a free Disney on Ice ticket. That's the free Family Movie Night at Westport Plaza on July 31st, presented by Royal Banks of Missouri. From the KTRS Traffic Center, I'm Captain Paul Kopsky on the Big 550 KTRS.
Thank you, Paul. That weather forecast tonight, we're going to be dropping down to about 64 very pleasant degrees. Will be even cooler in the outlying areas. Tomorrow, another phenomenal day, a high around 81. Friday, the rain does return, at least a chance of it, with highs in the 70s. At about 4:09, we have partly sunny skies and 82 degrees at Westport Plaza. For the Talk of St. Louis, I'm Brendan Weesey on the Big 550 KTRS.
Many people know Rankin Jordan Pediatric Bridge Hospital for their inpatient services, but it's the outpatient therapy program that is helping children thrive in our St. Louis community. Specializing in care for children with complex medical needs, Rankin Jordan offers physical, occupational, speech, and aquatic therapy in a welcoming, fun environment. Talk to your doctor if you're interested in therapy at Rankin Jordan. Visit rankinjordan.org to learn more.
Home equity loans are home everything loans at Neighbors Credit Union. Home improvements, vacations, education, even debt consolidation. Anything and everything you have planned can be made easier with my friends at Neighbors Credit Union. With the flexibility of a home equity line of credit at Neighbors Credit Union, you can enjoy a great introductory rate for the first 12 months. The possibilities are endless. Stop by one of the 8 area locations or apply online at neighborscu.org.
Equal housing opportunity. NMLS number 509288. Call 800-325-2697 for complete account and cost details.
Summer is a time to relax with friends and family. Vacations, barbecues, pool days, even movie nights. But for thousands of our neighbors in the St. Louis area, their struggles don't take a vacation. That's why all of us here at KTRS are partnering with Catholic Charities of the Archdiocese of St. Louis for a Christmas in July promotion.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Presented by Royal Banks of Missouri. We'll be hosting another family movie night at Westport Plaza for a free showing of The Sandlot, Friday, July 31st. Come out and enjoy the movie on the massive screen at Westport Plaza and bring an unwrapped toy or non-perishable item for Catholic Charities of the Archdiocese of St. Louis.
Whew, only 10 million more lists to go.
This summer, while you're making memories, help someone else find hope.
So come out to Movie Friday, July 31st, for a special screening of The Sandlot.
Visit ccstl.org and make a donation today. It's the Royal Banks of Missouri Christmas in July promotion on the Big 550 KTRS.
Presented by Appliance Discounters, Connor Roofing, Metal Exchange, Galmish & Sons Heating and Cooling, Allen Roofing and Siding, and Altair Travel.
You're listening to the Heidi Glaus Show with Josh Gilbert and Bob Ramsey on the Big 550 KTRS.
Our headlines for this Wednesday afternoon, July 22nd. St. Louis leaders look to Detroit for pointers on how to build a lasting resurgence. Detroit once served as the go-to example of the kind of American city you want to avoid. But things have changed. The city has managed to leave many of those problems in the past, earning praise from the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times for its thriving downtown and overall rebound. Local leaders here want to spur the same kind of turnaround and look to glean some lessons and pointers from Rip Rapson and the Cresige Foundation, a philanthropic organization that looks to boost American cities through grant making and social investing in a variety of sectors. So Rip explained, we were looking at a level of blight and abandonment that by any municipal standard was almost unimaginable. 100,000 vacant and abandoned and blighted properties. He worked with other philanthropics and a handful of private sector actors to put together some form of scaffolding, and then the foundation pieced together a sort of municipal agenda that gave way to addressing challenges of commercial corridor revitalization. So they help local hospitals, educational systems, arts and culture organizations regain their footing, and organizing community hubs in neighborhoods with significant vacancy and blight as a way to understand what could be redeveloped and what should remain open space. Collaboration was a through line in his comments. He pointed out no mayor can pull this off alone. No civic culture can pull this off alone. No nonprofit culture can do this alone. No business community can pull it off. I don't mean to make it sound so simple, but it's a very complex and involves very different negotiation, very difficult frustrations and politics. Who's in charge? Who's really taking the lead? But he also said, we created a quality of life in Detroit that was vibrant even for people without deep resources. That means you don't just focus on downtown, you focus citywide, and you give people a sense that this is a place that they want to build and live in.
If this is really working, you would hope other cities could follow suit relative to their situations.
Exactly.
Every city has similar problems, but also things unique to their own community.
Absolutely.
The other thing when you get with areas that can be deemed blighted, the issue of some people push back against what they call gentrification because it can raise housing costs. I get that. So I agree with the point. It's really complicated. You know, but the cities, if they can get more tax dollars rather than zero, so I don't know how you find the right balancing act.
Yeah, but I think the point, at least the takeaway for me in that article is it's collaboration.
Yeah.
It is not just one thing. It has to be all of these things together, pushing for one same objective and goal. So hopefully we can learn something here.
Well, you know, I know there are tons of varying neighborhoods all over St. Louis. Your neighborhood is beautiful. It wasn't always.
No.
Well, it started off really beautiful, in the 1800s?
And in 1970, there were more. It was a mess.
Yeah.
And almost completely gone with 44 going through it, and they were able to get it to go around. And it was a handful of people that really came in and said, look, we can do something with this.
And I think that anybody looks at it now would say, they got it right here. I think that about I don't live there, but it sure feels like it.
I would agree with that.
And I think that, can you do that in every neighborhood? Maybe not. But I think there are answers if we can get that collaboration you're talking
Absolutely.
about.
I think the answer is north. St. Louis is a linear city. It just goes out west all the way to Clayton, and that's where all the development is. I think if you can unlock the north, because there seems to be a line. Just boop.
Yeah.
And then it stopped. The city stops.
How do we unlock that?
How do we unlock that is a question. And Eric Seamers with St. Louis Business Journal, has told us about Detroit. He's been to Pittsburgh.
Yep.
Remember, he told us
Pittsburgh's great.
About how he went to Pittsburgh to try to figure out what they're doing right up there.
You know what's been a challenge in some places, and maybe I've been around long enough that you can see these different eras.
Mm-hmm.
Denver wasn't much, really built up its downtown, the ballpark, and other things like that. And now it's started to fade, and they're trying to battle back. So a city is a living thing.
Yeah, it is. And it's, I think Indianapolis, since we've been there
Fantastic.
lately,
Yeah.
it is beautiful, but it hasn't been that way.
When I started going there in the 80s, it was kind of nasty.
Yeah, and they've really turned things around.
Absolutely.
I think the one thing helping Indy out is they do get a lot of sporting events there, but the capital is in Indianapolis. So regardless of who's coming in and out, you always have that there to bolster it. Has anyone ever moved their capital city?
We have.
Yeah.
I mean, like modern, in the 20th century or, even
I
the
don't know
late
the answer.
19th century.
I'm going to bet you. That's the way to keep it interesting. I'm going to say no.
I'm going to say no because we would have an example by now. But, you set something up. When were we founded?
I don't know that draws
something?
People to a city because it's the capital.
Oh, well, it definitely does. It draws the lobbyists. It draws the lawmakers. People have to live there in and around the business of government is there. So I wonder in 1829, did I just make that up?
Yes.
Probably.
When they said, oh, this is going to be our capital. If anyone, 200
St. Charles.
years, 200 years later
And
go,
then you move it out.
we probably should have put it here.
In the middle.
Yeah, or we should have done this instead. Obviously we'd have a fight with Kansas City. But one more thing.
That's the point, though. How do you, especially in Missouri, like certain places, it does need to be in the middle for.
Yeah. All right. And I heard earlier today that a majority of local business leaders have come out and finally said, we need the city to rejoin the county. It's not that Better Together plan where they've, created a whole new system of government. It would just be, if we've got 90 municipalities, we now would have 91. And the majority of business leaders in St. Louis are now openly pushing for this. We've got a receptive mayor and we've got a receptive county executive who's only here for another 2 months, though. But maybe that's the plan forward, and maybe that could help. So
I'd be willing to again. It seems like so many stories we talk about the details.
Mm-hmm.
What are the details?
What does it look like?
Who's in charge? What's the flow of power?
And I'm going to use the example of the police going under the, state.
Yeah, under the state, yeah.
It is causing a lot of problems.
Yeah.
So I think that you have to really pull back all of these layers, like Bob is saying, because it might seem like it's a great idea on the surface, but there are so many little details that need to be worked out. Who would have thought that the city and the state would be suing each other and trying to figure out all of, I mean, it's ridiculous.
Here's a question.
It should all be for the same goal.
We should be. If the city rejoins the county, where would the county seat be?
Wouldn't move it? I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Currently, there's two. There's one in Clayton. There's one downtown.
But city
City and county, it's not the same.
The county seats in Clayton.
Yeah.
Right.
So all that stuff would stay there.
Yes.
Well, I guess everything's negotiable.
If the city's going to become part of the county, if it's going to be, I think that's where you get into all these little nitpicky things that people are going to fight about.
Would it make it simpler if the county seat and the city of St. Louis were in the same building area?
Yeah.
I don't know. Is it better to keep them separate? I don't know the answer.
I think if you rejoin the county, you can't keep them separate. You're now, St. Louis has its own separate
You have your
thing.
own city hall, though. Every town has a city hall.
Yeah, but your county courthouse, there's only one of those, as far as I know. So where would it be? Would all the county stuff stay? If I needed to get whatever for St. Louis County, am I going to Clayton? Or would that move back down to downtown? That would be an influx of a lot of jobs in downtown St. Louis, which would be kind of cool.
Except a lot of people who are working those jobs.
Everybody,
don't want to
everybody in
move.
Clayton don't want to lose their little
So
thing.
that's what I'm saying. There are going to be so much opposition either way.
Yeah.
All right, I've got two stories here. First one's for Heidi. The second one's for me. The first one's for you, Heidi. U.S. issues travel alert for
I saw it.
popular vacation hotspot.
Costa
Josh?
Rica.
Costa Rica.
Costa Rica.
The CDC issued a level 2.
Yeah.
Do we have a sounder for that? Level 2.
Level 2.
Thank you. A health notice for Costa Rica due to and here's the real reason I'm doing the story, just so I can say, chikungunya. The
the
outbreak
chikungunya. Remember that?
in Playa Langosta. Chikungunya is spread by mosquitoes and can cause fever, joint pain, other symptoms.
No, thank you.
Travelers are advised to use mosquito repellents, protective clothing, stay in air-conditioned spaces, But anyway, here's the thing, though. According to the CDC, chikungunya spreads to people through the bite of a mosquito, in particular the yellow fever variation, the same insect that transmits dengue and Zika.
Oh, my God. Zika. Remember that?
Joint pain, headaches, muscle pain, joint swelling, and rash. So, I'm glad you went when you went.
I am too.
I'm not going now.
Does it say when that was a thing, the Zika and the chikungunya?
It did not give that.
I feel like we all...
You remember chikungunya? I don't.
Yeah, I don't remember that one either.
You don't remember that? It's like we all figured out how to pronounce it, and then it was gone.
All that wasted time.
Yeah.
And finally, for me, an airline announces a new game-changing headrest.
Oh, I saw this too, and I love it.
Now, unfortunately, it's not in any U.S. airlines. It's Dubai-based. It's called the U-Dream headrest. It accommodates passengers of different heights and body types. It can move vertically and tilts to align with particular customers. If you look and find a picture of it, it looks pretty cool. Extra cushion for your head to lean back. And then
it kind of looks like one of the shoulder pillows, only built in.
Yeah, but built in, so you can move it up and down. I think I would like that.
Yeah, I do
but
too.
I think that is good. So this is not a criticism. The thing that gets me most on U.S. airlines is no lumbar support. I need
the small of your back?
Small of my back.
Yeah.
I need lumbar support. It's just not there.
Yeah.
Maybe in first class. That's just a dream for me. Maybe someday.
One day. That's my dream, too. I've never flown first class.
You know what? Mike and Mary Ward.
They were flying first class.
Did you see that post?
Yes.
On Facebook?
They flew first class when we traveled with them. And they were like kind of poking it in our face.
I have never done it either.
Where's Heidi sitting? Oh, she's back with the rabble.
Yeah.
Can you just open that curtain and let her see our glass of champagne?
No.
That she can't have?
Cheers. Okay.
Sorry.
Can you close that now?
Yeah.
We've made our point. What
No
was it?
kidding. That is, I'm not exaggerating.
I know. What was it, Home Alone, where they were, don't you feel like a heel sitting in first class where the kids are back? And the dad's like, no, I don't feel bad at all.
And a Seinfeld episode where Elaine's in the middle seat in the back, and Jerry's first class seat is next to a supermodel.
Yes.
Perfect.
They're having champagne and full dinners. All right, chikungunya 2013, Zika 2015.
Oh, okay.
So, ancient history. All right, and we were talking about asking ChatGPT about political questions. How should I vote in this upcoming election? Don't do it. It's not a good idea. Duh. Well, a Florida pastor is suing OpenAI and ChatGPT because he asked for medical advice, and they gave him extremely dangerous medical recommendations that led to delayed care for a life-threatening pulmonary embolism that he had last year. Scott Winters says that ChatGPT assured him that the early warning signs of his health crisis were not something dangerous by ChatGPT and dissuaded him from seeking medical advice, instead telling him to trust that God did not design your body to endlessly fail.
I mean, we got to be smarter than this.
I mean, you hear the McDonald's coffee story, you say, well, that's ridiculous, but then you find out the woman was in the hospital for like 3 months. And by design, they kept the coffee too hot so they didn't have to remake it over
It's
and over again.
supposed to be hot. Not that hot.
Not that hot. So the question is this guy going to win this lawsuit, or does the court say, any common person knows not to trust the Chat GPT for your medical
This isn't the
advice.
first time, and I don't know if it was Chat GPT, but there was something similar with a kid, I think, asking about taking his own life, and it actually suggested. I mean, so you gotta. These things have to be, looked after.
The bot safety features, which are designed to encourage users with health questions to see a professional and end the conversation there. It said those procedures were not followed, and he continued to be able to talk to the chatbot. This appears to be the first to claim that a chatbot's health advice harmed someone seeking guidance about a medical condition. They are seeking financial damages.
Of course.
And they have asked the court to stop Chat GPT Health. Chat GPT Health is a thing. Here I thought it was crazy
WebMD.
to go to WebMD and ask medical questions, but now people are even skipping that and going straight to the chatbot. This is just not a good idea.
WebMD is the same thing. I mean, it is also AI and has been filled by all that, is it not? I mean, it's the exact similar to.
I don't know where WebMD is these days.
So, and in all honesty, probably the ChatGPT Health has more information than that one. If what we're hearing now and learning about AI is to be correct, at least has more information than the original.
But you cannot trust
No.
ChatGPT with your medical.
You shouldn't trust just one doctor. You should always get a second opinion. I mean, I think, but
First of its kind case headed to the courts.
Well, we'll see how it ends up. But you're right first, because you know that there's going to be many more. You're talking about mosquitoes, and one of those things that's great about windows is they keep mosquitoes out. You got to make sure that they are sealed properly. But windows do a lot of things, and energy efficient windows, they can save you a lot of money as well, making sure that cold air stays in, and when it is cold outside, the cold air outside. Window Depot USA is where they do things right. They combine integrity and a focus on helping the community with local service that you can truly trust. Window Depot has kind of this larger umbrella, so they have the national buying power, which allows you to get triple pane performance at double pane pricing, making those energy efficient windows even more efficient. And get this, to celebrate America's 250th birthday, Window Depot is giving you the gifts, and I'm talking a great gift. You get $250 off each window and door with a qualifying purchase, which is pretty fantastic, because if you've been putting off windows, because it is a big commitment and it isn't a cheap endeavor, well, now you can save $250 off each window and door with that qualifying purchase. So you can reach Window Depot STL at 636-939-4800. Have them come out, give you an estimate. You're going to be so impressed by the way they do business. Again, it's 636-939-4800, or check them out online at windowdepotstl.com.
Tune in to KTRS on Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. for the Strategic Wealth Hour, hosted by experienced advisors Tom Haddican and Charlie Sanariva from Synergy Wealth Solutions. The Strategic Wealth Hour is a dynamic and engaging show designed to help listeners take control of their financial future with confidence by breaking down complex topics like retirement planning, wealth and investment management, and protection strategies you can actually use. That's the Strategic Wealth Hour on Sundays at 10 a.m. right here on the Big 550 KTRS.
Hi, it's Julie Buck to tell you about a trusted family business that I've been working with for years, Easter Fence and Deck. Chuck Easter and his family have been the go-to fence and deck company in the St. Louis area for more than 70 years. And when it comes to sunrooms, Easter Fence and Deck offers the top-of-the-line Better Living sunrooms that are absolutely spectacular. When it comes to fences, decks, and sunrooms, I would invite you to do what my family has done for years and trust the family-owned Easter Fence and Deck online at easterfence.com.
One thing, I try to do is not think about all the money I have to spend. But sometimes it goes through your head and you think, I got to buy this, I got to spend money on that. But the money that you spent on your house is probably the biggest single purchase you've ever made. So it makes sense to protect it. And you know what? There might be things going on up top there on the roof that you can't see. Allen Roofing can. They don't even have to go up there. They could send some drones up to have a look, find out the problem, give a diagnosis, sit down with you and say, what shall we do from here to protect that asset of yours that you spent all that money on? It only makes sense, whether it's a roof, whether it's siding, tuck pointing, anything to do with the outside of your house. They will help you protect it. Find them online at aroofing.net.
Many people know Rankin Jordan Pediatric Bridge Hospital for their inpatient services, but it's the outpatient therapy program that is helping children thrive in our St. Louis community. Specializing in care for children with complex medical needs, Rankin Jordan offers physical, occupational, speech, and aquatic therapy in a welcoming, fun environment. Talk to your doctor if you're interested in therapy at Rankin Jordan. Visit rankinjordan.org to learn more.
We need to be very careful in this heat wave. You need to check on mom and dad, check on the neighbors, the senior citizens, the dogs, the cats. You need to be safe in this heat because it can be dangerous. And if your air conditioner has any issues, you call Gelmish & Sons. Why? Because they've been dealing with St. Louis summers since 1950. Gelmish & Sons is on hand, ready to help you in this heat wave. Give them a call, 314-993-1110 or gelmishandsons.com.
You're listening to the Heidi Glaus Show with Josh Gilbert and Bob Ramsey on the Big 550 KTRS.
4:32. Captain Paul, how's traffic moving on this beautiful Wednesday afternoon?
Heidi, it's been a relatively quiet afternoon out there, but there is a crash on 70 West east of Cave Springs with a bumper-to-bumper jam back to 94. 64 West is busy from Kings Highway to Clayton Skinker, and it's stop and go between Lake St. Louis Boulevard and I-70. 64 East bogs down at 170 and between Jefferson and 14th Street. 270 South is congested from Olive down to Manchester. 44 West heavy between Washington and Tucker, and 64 East is jammed between Illinois 157 and 159. This traffic report is brought to you by Westport Plaza. Don't miss the Westport Plaza Family Movie Night on Friday, July 31st for a free showing of The Sandlot, face painting, concessions, stage show, and then the movie. Bring an unwrapped toy for families in need and get a free Disney on Ice ticket. That's the free family movie night at Westport Plaza on July 31st, presented by Royal Banks of Missouri. From the KTRS Traffic Center, I'm Captain Paul Kopsky on the Big 550 KTRS.
President Trump has approved an agreement with Saudi Arabia to partner on developing the kingdom's civil nuclear energy program. Chris Baccia, ABC News correspondent in Washington, joins us with the latest. What does this deal actually include?
So this is a civil nuclear energy cooperation agreement between the two countries. It would set Saudi Arabia on a path to begin a nuclear program for energy purposes explicitly. The deal does contain key safeguards against a potential nuclear weapons program, which is, of course, the concern here. So the U.S. has pointed that out, that this is very much a civil deal. Now, there are concerns from people who track the proliferation of nuclear weapons and who are concerned about nuclear weapons getting into the hands of countries outside of those who are embraced by the international community to have them, which includes the United States. This deal would allow in the future, according to our sources, Saudi Arabia to enrich uranium domestically. That raises concerns because that would enable capability to produce a nuclear weapon in theory. Now, there are safeguards which are meant to inhibit that despite the domestic enrichment of uranium. But that process itself is what has certain non-proliferation experts concerned.
Chris, my uninformed opinion, when I saw this, it raised a red flag for me. Saudi Arabia, what do they need energy for? They got all the oil they want. Why do they need the nuclear energy? So what is their goal here with atomic energy for their nation?
Yeah, I think that's an important question. One thing to mention is that Saudi Arabia is very concerned about a nuclear Iran. And the Crown Prince has said, that is Mohammed bin Salman, who's the de facto leader there in Riyadh, who has a good relationship with President Trump. He came here in Washington in the fall to begin talking about this. But he has said if Iran had a nuclear weapon, that Saudi Arabia would have to have a nuclear weapon. And that has been, let's say, mentioned, as we think about this, that is a potential motive. Of course, on paper, that's not an official motive for why the country would want to produce and begin building infrastructure around a civil nuclear energy program. No question, there's an energy transition. I think this is not my area of expertise, but most energy industry people would tell you that nuclear is the future. Yeah. I think Europe has embraced it in a big way. The United States has embraced it to an extent. So in that sense, there are innocuous industrial reasons to do this. But the geopolitics are very important. The signal that this sends is very important, especially as the United States is fighting a war on a premise that Iran, which is a neighboring country and, of course, Saudi Arabia's rival, should not be able to enrich uranium. The United States doesn't accept any level of enrichment in that country. Of course, two very different countries, but we're talking about a serious development geopolitically.
And we've seen Saudi Arabia try to get a seat at the table, whether it is becoming some sort of hub for tourism and with that line city that they wanted to build, or what they've done with sports, getting Ronaldo to play soccer there, the Live Golf thing, hosting the World Cup in 8 years or so. So is this just another feather in their cap, another seat at the table for Saudi Arabia to say we're one of the 8 or 9 nuclear powers now?
Yeah, and I think they won't be considered a nuclear power with this deal, but yes, it as far as their heft on the world stage, no question that this crown prince, who took over from his father, has had Saudi Arabia punching above its weight for some time. This will be a major political win for him on the world stage. And one thing that the Saudis, you might argue, won as a concession here was this framework goes back to the Biden administration, which began negotiating a nuclear deal with Saudi Arabia. What the United States was going to get out of that deal, or what was actually a victory for Israel. The notion was that Saudi Arabia would recognize Israel. Now, President Trump decoupled those two things, and they went forward with this framework without getting the Saudis to recognize Israel. So this will be viewed as a big win for the Crown Prince in the region because he was able to do this without having to take that very big step of recognizing Israel, which would not have been viewed very well inside his country.
Very interesting. And all of this, Chris, comes a day after a pretty tense day on Capitol Hill with Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth talking to Senate Appropriations Committee, and the estimate for the cost of war is rising, $37.5 billion.
That's right. Yeah, that number is up from the last time we heard it, which was $29 billion. Of course, we are now in active hostilities, 10 straight days of an exchange of fire between Iran and the United States. This comes while the Pentagon is asking for a $7 billion supplemental bill from Congress, and that is just a drop in the bucket for their top line figure, which is $1.5 trillion for the year. That number won't actually get that high when Congress has its say, but certainly the Pentagon is asking for a lot, and it's saying that because of this war, it needs funding. And we've discussed and we've heard about on the Hill plenty the fact that the United States has expended munitions in a very serious way. The Defense Secretary has acknowledged that, and they're going to the Hill asking for funding.
Got it. Chris Boccia, thank you for joining us. We appreciate you.
Thanks for having me.
Galmish & Sons have been providing quality heating and cooling services since 1950. They work exclusively with Lennox, the preferred choice of St. Louis homeowners. Call Galmish & Sons for your next Lennox HVAC installation and service. 314-993-1110.
John Beal Roofing has been proudly serving homeowners and businesses in the St. Louis metro area on both sides of the river in Missouri and Illinois for over 3 generations. A dependable roof begins with a team you can count on. And that's exactly what you get with John Beal Roofing. Recognized as one of Roofing Contractor Magazine's top 100 roofing companies, John Beal Roofing offers 24/7 emergency service and industry-leading warranties, including a lifetime workmanship warranty for total peace of mind. From upgrading an aging roof or completing a full replacement, the team at John Beal Roofing delivers solutions that are built to code, built to last, and handled with expert care. John Beal also responds quickly with reliable storm damage services backed by decades of experience and 24/7 emergency support. Get started today for expert service and a free, no obligation estimate by calling 1-800-NEW-ROOF. That's 1-800-NEW-ROOF.
This July, we celebrate our nation's 250 years of independence and the anniversary of the One Big Beautiful Bill. As a small business owner, you understand the freedom and independence that comes from owning your own business. Hi, I'm Jeff Zufall, Senior Tax Strategist and Wealth Advisor at Capital Advisory Group, and the author of the 2 #1 best-selling books on taxes, Keep What's Yours and Keeping What's Yours. We're celebrating 50 years helping small businesses maintain their independence by minimizing their financial risk to their business, reducing their tax liability, and growing their wealth with strategic tax planning. If you're relying on investment advice from someone who isn't familiar with strategic tax planning and you feel like you might be paying more than your fair share in taxes, give us a call. 636-394-5524. That's 636-394-5524 or online at capitaladvisorygrp.com.
It's the GOAT! The greatest of all trade-in events at HW Kia. Bring your trade now and get up to $5,000 over book value for it. If your trade is old, tired, stinky, or being held together by duct tape and a prayer, HW Kia wants it. Paid off or not, bring that old goat in to HW Kia. Then drive home a new HW Kia K4 for just $189 a month. Yes, only $189 a month on a 24-month lease. It's the HW Kia GOAT event. The greatest of all trade-in events. Get up to $5,000 over book value for your trade now. New K4, just $189 a month. HW Kia in the heart of West County on Manchester Road. And remember, Big D wants to see ya in an HW Kia. Start now at hwkia.com. Summer sticker sales event. With approved credit to well-qualified buyers through Kia Finance. 2026 K4, $36.95 to its signing. Discount includes $850 in lease cash. 10,000 miles per year. No security deposit. Plus tax, title, license, and admin. Fee expires 7/31/26.
Before you put your home on the market, before you have to pay money fixing it up to sell it, before you have to pay real estate commissions, call me. I'm Mike Robinson with Robank Properties, and I will buy your home. Any property, any condition, anywhere, and always as is. Call me, Mike Robinson with Robank Properties at 314-283-0867. That's 314-283-0867. You have nothing to lose when you call Robank Properties at 314-283-0867.
Congress doesn't need more politicians. For nearly 30 years, Joan Von Dross dedicated her life to helping students learn, grow, and succeed. Now she's running for Congress to fight for lower healthcare costs, stronger public schools, and a more affordable future for Missouri families. Teachers solve problems. Politicians play politics.
I'm Joan Von Dross, Democrat from Missouri CD2, and I approve this message. Vote for me on August 4th.
Paid for by Von Dross for Congress.
This is Mariah, 3rd generation at Newsteaders Fine Jewelry. Buying an engagement ring can be intimidating. At Newsteaders, we ensure complete understanding of your purchase. We offer a choice in both lab and mine-grown diamonds and are able to work with any budget. Let our family help educate you on your choice at Big Ben and Doherty Ferry or at wowdiamonds.com.
You're listening to the Heidi Glaus Show with Josh Gilbert and Bob Ramsey on the Big 550. KTRS.
Residents in a Gold Hill, Colorado neighborhood spent the entire night basically cursing a rude neighbor who refused to stop laying on the car horn when they finally went outside to investigate. Because I will say, even in the RV over the weekend in Indy, somebody's car alarm kept going off. I don't know that there's anything more annoying than that. And if somebody has left and somehow the car is going off, nobody can sleep. Anyway, they finally got outside. A massive bear was trapped in the front seat of an SUV, leaning directly on the steering wheel. All of these neighbors were so mad. And then it was a bear. A brave neighbor used a long rope to pop the door from a distance so the bear could escape, but not before it trashed the entire interior. It blew the driver's airbag. So I'm just trying to think, have you ever gotten mad at a neighbor and then realized it wasn't their fault at all?
Yeah, probably. I still, think about it, though, when I see him.
You still blame them for something?
It wasn't me. It was the bear.
Yeah, okay.
Or maybe just a neighbor was rude and you don't realize that they were having a really bad day or something. They didn't speak, and then you realize that, a lot more was going on there. But I thought that was an interesting one.
I've got a little follow-up.
Yeah.
I pulled up, they're called suntan reflectors.
Oh, they do exist, but not just in the movies.
It was a thing in the 50s and 60s, though.
Okay.
And I think by the time the 80s movies came along, it was kind of a joke.
Yeah.
I
always thought they were.
But they really did exist. I'm seeing here some brands, Suntana, Rapitan, sun reflectors. And then, Bob, here's a picture of George Hamilton, professional tanner.
Right.
With a Reflect-A-Tan sun reflector.
And you got to remember, in those days, people would get out of the sun and they would use things like baby oil. I mean, sunscreen was unheard of.
Yeah.
I wonder, did everyone get skin cancer back then? Obviously we're smarter now, but...
Well, but they're 18.
Maybe
you won't get that till you're 60, so I don't know.
Maybe they died from any other number of crazy things they used to do back then before they could develop the skin cancer. But they were a real thing. If you want to look them up, they're suntan reflectors. Remember, there's something about Mary Magda, the old lady next door. She'd come by and she had it, get out of my sun,
I feel like you're a little
honey.
obsessed with these because this isn't the first time you've talked about these reflectors.
I think neck braces and sun reflectors are just comedy gold.
Comedy.
Right? And you put a monkey in a tuxedo, you're going to get some laughs. Okay? That's my top. That's my top three right there.
Okay.
And this is why you're doing radio and not stand-up comedy. It's about 11 minutes before 5 o'clock. Captain Paul, how's traffic?
Heidi, 270 south is heavy between Olive and Manchester with the stalled vehicle past 64. 64 west is busy from Kings Highway to Clayton Skinker, and it's stop and go between Lake St. Louis Boulevard and I-70. 64 east bogs down at 170. 44 west is heavy between Washington and Tucker downtown, and it's slow between Laclede Station and Barry in Webster Groves. And 64 east is jammed between Illinois 157 and 159. This traffic report is brought to you by Westport Plaza. Don't miss the Westport Plaza Family Movie Night on Friday, July 31st for a free showing of The Sandlot. Face painting, concessions, stage show, and then the movie. Bring an unwrapped toy for families in need and get a free Disney on Ice ticket. That's the free Family Movie Night at Westport Plaza on July 31st, presented by Royal Banks of Missouri. From the KTRS Traffic Center, I'm Captain Paul Kopsky on the Big 550 KTRS.
Our house in the middle of our street. Our house in the middle of our house.
Well, paying off your mortgage is a big deal, but there are times that maybe you shouldn't pay it off. Lauren Risley, founder of Lauren Risley Realty, is back with some things to consider. It's great to have you back with us.
Well, of course. It's always nice seeing your pretty faces.
Right? All right. So I feel like paying it off is a no-brainer, but really, it's not.
Well, so here's the crazy thing. There's no right or wrong answer.
Yeah.
Right. So, I think it really depends on, and we say this, I think, every week, each and everyone's, specific situation.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to chat more about this in depth on Call the Closer this Sunday. Jason Hardy, he's our numbers guy. He's going to be in with us. So he'll talk a little bit too. So you'll have 3 opinions on it.
Okay.
And I imagine we'll all differ in some form or fashion, but I'm in the camp of do not.
Does it matter what your mortgage rate is?
It does.
Okay.
That is a big thing. So for those of us lucky enough to be at 4% or less, don't pay that bad boy off. Don't do it.
Because you're making more money if you put it somewhere else, correct?
Yes. So, I'm completely making this up, but I'm sure Josh can fact check me. But I assume the S&P 500, like a, pretty middle of the road as far as like risk, stocks, mutual fund, whatever it might be, probably has earned around 10%.
All right.
30 years.
He's Googling.
Yep. Tell me.
Year to date, this is just from January, S&P's up 9%.
Yeah, pretty good guess.
Year over year from last July, it's up 18%.
Okay, but we're also talking about something volatile that can go down to go down 30%. So if we're looking at a 10-year, 20-year period like we would a mortgage, right?
245% is up over the past 10 years.
Okay,
Lauren.
do not get a mortgage and just put it in the S&P 500.
Right.
Have a great day.
That is not, wait, that is not advice.
So yeah, that is not advice. But yeah, so if you're at 4%, right, and that's making 10% or whatever it might be, then it's like, okay, then what were you going to overpay your mortgage to pay it off, right? If it's $2,000 a month, were you going to put in $3,000, right? Or were you going to do a lump sum because you're like, man, I only have $50,000 left? It's like, great, then put that in the market and invest it, right? And invest it somewhere safe. Maybe you are just doing a bond that's getting an easy, 5% or 6%. It doesn't have to be something wild, because the point is you're either paying off a debt or you're growing an asset, right? You're not taking it to the casino.
Right.
So
Josh, did you hear that?
I heard it.
Okay.
That's off the table.
Oh,
but now, so we're at 6.5%, right? So then people, because here's the argument I hear. Well, yeah, that makes sense for people that are at 3%. It's like, well, you just heard Josh read what the S&P's done over the last year, 2 years, 10 years. So even if you're at 7%, to me, it still makes sense to just pay your base and then invest the rest or save it.
Okay, but should you pay like an extra $100 on your mortgage payment? Does that help anything?
So, you know what? And not to make this a total teaser for Sunday, but Adam has a theory. He's talked about it on your show before. But he does something, and again, tune in Sunday because I'm not Adam to regurgitate this correctly, but he does like biweekly payments, and there's a way that he gets an interest-free payment every year. Jason has shared some insight on that as well. I don't do it. You know what? Whenever someone tells me something really smart, in that moment, I absolutely want to do it. And then life happens and I don't do any of it.
Forget about it.
So I think one time, probably on your show when Adam said it, I called on one of my properties, or they happened to call, or I needed something. So I'm like, hey, while I have you, can I do a bi-weekly payment? And some places don't allow it.
Oh, okay.
Because they want the interest.
They need it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they won't. If you have to read the fine print on your mortgage statement, every lender is going to be different, and not your lender, but the person servicing that loan. So just because maybe Jason helped you get your loan, he's probably not servicing it, right? And so you want to look at that service agreement. And some say, even if you make a payment twice a month, they don't put it towards your principal unless it's a full payment.
Oh,
got it.
So you'll need to look. So even if you have that, oh yeah, I'm going to do that, the servicer is like, we're on to you, and they're not.
Right.
They're not. allowing it.
So tune in on Sunday and then maybe call you guys for further information.
Oh, for sure. Well, and if we're going to talk numbers, we'll call Jason. But yeah, absolutely.
So what about this, though? Do you guys cover this Sunday? Getting a 30-year and paying it off in 15, or getting a 30-year and paying it off in 20. Don't take that big lump sum and pay your house off, but maybe pay it off on a quicker schedule.
Yeah, so we have plenty of clients, especially those our engineers, our accountants, and anyone in finance. This is always who wants to do a 15-year or 20-year mortgage. The nice thing is you do get a bit of a break on the interest rate. To me, it's not significant enough to be life-changing. You know, if you're at 6.5 on a 30-year, you might be at 6.3 on a 20-year, right? So it's not super impactful, but get a 30-year, and like if you absolutely want to pay it off sooner, then do that. I've never seen a mortgage that has a prepayment penalty.
Right.
If they do, it's the first 6 months, right? But they're not going to penalize you for paying it off in 20 years. Here's the thing. Let's say you get yourself into a 15-year because it has a good rate and because in your mind you have this great game plan to be debt-free in 15 years. Well, an opportunity comes up, or God forbid, an emergency comes up, and you're like, well, I can't really afford to make this monthly payment. I could afford the 30-year, but I can't afford the 15-year. But you're locked in. You don't change that. You'd have to do a refinance to change that. And a refinance is, you have closing costs, you have an appraisal, you get underwritten based on your income and your credit and your employment. So it's just not that easy. But then you're stuck in that. So it's like, why put yourself in a position to, if an emergency or opportunity came up, to be in a bad spot, just do a 30-year and then pay more if you want to.
Yeah, that seems to make sense. Anything else that we need to consider when it comes to paying off your mortgage or not paying it off?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's going to be peace of mind, really. We've had clients, especially when they're looking at downsizing or something like that, right? So my dad and stepmom bought last year, the year before, they sold their house and bought a villa. Well, in a perfect world, they would have sold their house and then used the cash to buy a villa, but they needed to move into the house first. And so they actually got a loan, and they were going to keep it for 6 months because there's a prepayment penalty. And the lender, Jason, even said, hey, you guys have such a good rate. Hang on to this. And Jason's not servicing it. So he already got paid. He doesn't care. But he's saying, like, look, you can take your money and invest it. Like, go take that money from the sale of your house and put that in, a retirement fund or a bond or something like that, and just and you don't even have to get the whole mortgage, right?
Yeah.
So if it was $300,000, it's like, then put $200 down and get a mortgage for $100. But when you're giving up access to all of your cash, you are going to miss out on an opportunity, and you are going to put yourself in a position to not have funds if there's an emergency.
Yeah, this is all really good things to remember. And as you just said, you guys are going to dig in this weekend. Call the Closer with Lauren Risley Realty. It airs here on the Big 550 KTRS Sundays at 1. And of course, if you're in the market to buy or sell a home, or if you just have a question because
knowledge is power.
Call Lauren Risley Realty, 314-775-0684. You can also email her at hello@laurenrisleyrealty.com. Thank you so much.
Of course. I'll see you next week.
All right.
Summer is a time to relax with friends and family. Vacations, barbecues, pool days, even movie nights. But for thousands of our neighbors in the St. Louis area, their struggles don't take a vacation. That's why all of us here at KTRS are partnering with Catholic Charities of the Archdiocese of St. Louis for a Christmas in July promotion.
Merry Christmas, everyone!
Presented by Royal Banks of Missouri. We'll be hosting another family movie night at Westport Plaza for a free showing of The Sandlot, Friday, July 31st. Come out and enjoy the movie on the massive screen at Westport Plaza and bring an unwrapped toy or non-perishable item for Catholic Charities of the Archdiocese of St. Louis.
Whew, only 10 million more lists to go.
This summer, while you're making memories, help someone else find hope. So come out to Movie Friday, July 31st for a special screening of The Sandlot. Or visit ccstl.org and make a donation today. It's the Royal Banks of Missouri Christmas in July promotion on the Big 550 KTRS.
Presented by Appliance Discounters, Schnarr's Hardware, Connor Roofing, Metal Exchange, the St. Louis Cardinals, and Altair Travel. The Big 550.
KTRS. St. Louis.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. Tropical Storm Bertha making landfall this afternoon east of New Orleans, losing some steam but still dumping rain and whipping up the threat of storm surge along the Gulf Coast. Here's ABC's Victor Okendo in the Big Easy.
And as we come this way, you can see how much water has made its way over from Lake Pontchartrain, now really flooding this area. The good news, this is probably as bad as it is going to get today. Louisiana's governor saying that the storm likely will not produce the type of rainfall or kind of wind event that it could have, but we're feeling the brunt of it right now.
House Speaker Mike Johnson touting a series of votes today, passing measures to extend government funding through December 4th, along with a budget resolution package.
And the budget resolution that unlocks our third reconciliation bill, which of course is Republicans' best shot to get as much of the Save America Act into law as possible, in addition to funding our national defense and our farmers.
In addition, lawmakers helped pass the Stop Insider Trading Act that bans members of Congress and family members from trading individual stocks and also puts limits on it. It does not include members of the executive branch. President Trump, along with top military leaders, attended the dignified transfer at Dover Air Base today for the 4 U.S. service members killed in the Middle East. 18 U.S. military members have died since the start of the war with Iran. The Trump administration has struck a landmark nuclear deal with Saudi Arabia. ABC's Patrick Reevell has details.
The deal is likely worth billions of dollars for American companies, and it also shuts out Russia and China. But it's also highly controversial because there are fears that it could ultimately pave the way to Saudi Arabia getting a nuclear weapon and then potentially an arms race in the Middle East. Most controversially, the deal potentially opens the door to allowing Saudi Arabia to enrich uranium on its territory.
On Wall Street today, stocks finished lower. You're listening to ABC News.
Did you know Florissant is 240 years old this year? Come out and celebrate 240 years of Florissant at the historic Old St. Ferdinand Shrine. Join the City of Florissant and Old Town Partners for an evening of community and fun. Festivities begin at 5:30 with the unveiling of a 240th anniversary plaque, followed by live music from Northwind's Band at 6 and a family-friendly movie beginning at 7:30. Food and drinks will be available from Knights of Columbus 2951, sponsored by CNB St. Louis Bank and Helfers. Come celebrate Florissant's past, present, and future. We'll see you at the Old St. Ferdinand Shrine.
That's Wednesday, July 29th. Join in the celebration.
Home equity loans are home everything loans at Neighbors Credit Union. Home improvements, vacations, education, even debt consolidation. Anything and everything you have planned can be made easier with my friends at Neighbors Credit Union. With the flexibility of a home equity line of credit at Neighbors Credit Union, you can enjoy a great introductory rate for the first 12 months. The possibilities are endless. Stop by one of the 8 area locations or apply online at neighborscu.org.
Equal housing opportunity. NMLS number 509288. Call 800-325-2697 for complete account and cost details.
Looking for a new kitchen or bath? Call me, Anne-Marie Bogus, the co-host of the Inside Out Show and owner and designer at Anne-Marie Design Studio. Visit our website at annemaristudio.com. We can help make your dream space into a reality. We're a fine kitchen and bath boutique located in Wildwood. We do it all, from design to bid to installation too. Call us today at 636-821-3395 or go online at annemaristudio.com. Let's make your dream kitchen or bath a reality with Anne-Marie Design Studio.
Good afternoon. It's 5:03 and 82 degrees at Westport Plaza. I'm Brendan Weesey, and here's the latest from the KTRS newsroom. A man convicted of a murder for hire plot has been sentenced to life in prison this afternoon. 71-year-old Michael Grady was convicted of conspiracy to commit murder for hire, aiding and abetting murder for hire, aiding and abetting murder for hire, and conspiracy to commit money laundering earlier this year. Grady conspired with Victoria Rena Williams to have her fiancé, Charles Harris III, killed for an insurance payout. He also reportedly hired the person who killed Harris at his home in 2011. There's word today of another drowning down at the Lake of the Ozarks. The body of a 35-year-old Springfield, Missouri man was pulled from the water at the 21-mile marker early this morning. The man entered the water off a docked boat around 4 a.m. He went under shortly thereafter and never resurfaced. This is the 5th drowning at the lake this year. St. Louis police are renewing efforts to solve a 1980 murder case. KTRS's Jill Enders has more.
21-year-old Jerome Williams was severely assaulted outside of his South St. Louis home on Rutger in the early morning hours of August 30th of 1980. He died the next day from his injuries. Now, investigators say several witnesses were there at the time of the assault, but they told police they didn't see or hear anything. Anyone with any information is urged to come forward. You can do so by contacting the Homicide Division of the St. Louis Police Department or Crime Stoppers at 1-866-371-TIPS. Jill Enders, KTRS News.
Efforts to expand health care in the Metro East are moving forward. Plans for a new 108-bed Touche Regional Hospital in Cahokia Heights received state approval on Tuesday. This clears the way for a $231 million healthcare investment designed to expand behavioral health services, attract medical specialists, and help more Southern Illinois and Metro East patients receive care close to home. The new hospital, which will be built along Sandy Ridge Road, approximately 5 miles from Touche's current location. Groundbreaking is expected in March of 2027, with the hospital scheduled to open in mid to late 2029. This KTRS Business Minute is brought to you by Walter Knoll Florist, the place for all your floral needs. Place your order anytime at WKF.com. Sunday's World Cup final averaged over 66 million viewers in the United States on both Fox and Telemundo. Excluding Super Bowls, this marks the largest sports television audience since Nancy Kerrigan and Tanya Harding captivated the world at the 1994 Winter Olympics. A look now at the markets presented by JBL Financial. Tune in to Straight Talk on Retirement, Saturday mornings from 9 until 11 here on the Big 550. Dow closed down just 6 points at 52,218. S&P 500 down 10 at 74.98. And the NASDAQ down 146 at 25,690. Now let's head on over to the Royal Banks of Missouri Sports Desk. That's where we find the good captain, Paul Kopsky. Hello, Paul.
Hello, Brendan. St. Louis City SC plays the LA Galaxy late tonight on the West Coast. City is coming off a rivalry win against Sporting. Meanwhile, the Galaxy lost 3-0 to LAFC in the latest installment of El Trafico last week. And Mizzou is bringing on Dr. Brian Maggard as their new Deputy Athletics Director and Chief Operating Officer. Maggard was the AD at the University of Louisiana and replaces the retiring Marcy Gurton in Columbia. I'm Paul Kopsky from the Royal Banks of Missouri Sports Desk, and now on to traffic. No accidents, but 270 South is heavy from 64 down to Manchester. 64 West is busy from Kings Highway to Clayton Skinker, and it's stop and go between Lake St. Louis Boulevard and I-70. 64 East bogs down from 170 to Big Bend. 44 West is heavy between Washington and Tucker downtown. 44 East congested between the King Bridge and the Poplar Street Bridge. 64 East is jammed between Illinois 157 and 159. And 64 West is busy between Illinois 158 and Greenmount. This traffic report is brought to you by Westport Plaza. Don't miss the Westport Plaza Family Movie Night on Friday, July 31st for a free showing of The Sandlot. Face painting, concessions, stage show, and then the movie. Bring an unwrapped toy for families in need and get a free Disney on Ice ticket. That's the free Family Movie Night at Westport Plaza on July 31st, presented by Royal Banks of Missouri. From the KTRS Traffic Center, I'm Captain Paul Kopsky on the Big 550 KTRS.
Paul, thank you. That forecast, very nice tonight. We're going to be dropping down to around 64 degrees. Tomorrow, another tremendous day, highs in the low 80s with low humidity, but things start to change on Friday. Rain is back in the forecast, about a 50-50 chance, but temperatures remain mild in the 70s. At 5:09, we have partly sunny skies and 81 degrees at Westport Plaza. For the Talk of St. Louis, I'm Brendan Weesey on the Big 550 KTRS.
I trust Pella Windows and Doors of St. Louis to help improve my home when it matters most. It's not just Pella's high-quality windows and doors. It's the local experts who know the St. Louis area so well. For a limited time, get 20% off Pella projects or 0% no payments, no interest if paid in full within 24 months. Call 833-87-PELLA or visit Pella.com/radio to learn more. 833-87-PELLA or Pella.com/radio. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
Ask any designer and they'll tell you lighting is key. It's Heidi, and you can completely transform your home with Nora Lighting, which is available at my go-to store, Metro Lighting. From recess to under cabinet lighting, Nora helps brighten every corner beautifully. Visit Metro Lighting St. Louis area showrooms to explore all the Nora Lighting solutions, or check them out online at metrolightingcenters.com.
You're listening to the Heidi Glaus Show with Josh Gilbert and Bob Ramsey on the Big 550 KTRS.
A research team just captured the first images of the wreckage of a Pan American Airways plane 74 years after it plunged into the Atlantic Ocean. Jeff Wise, aviation journalist and host of the podcast Finding MH370, joins us to talk about this incredible discovery. Thanks for making time for us.
Hey, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
So let's go back to April 11th, 1952. What happened to the plane?
Well, so this was a plane that was taking off from Puerto Rico. It was heading for New York. Shortly after the plane took off, two of the engines had trouble. The plane was not going to make it. The pilot turned back, and they ditched in the ocean. And unfortunately, a bunch of people died.
Yeah.
52 people died.
Has there been a consistent search for this plane since it went down?
Well, there hasn't been, and I had, so I do this podcast about MH370,
right,
which is a, missing plane that a lot of people think about a lot. This has been a focus of international attention for 12 years now. This is I'd never heard of this. This was back in 1952. This was a DC-4. This was a sort of a World War II era piston plane with propellers on it. And not famous, not Amelia Earhart. So this was a kind of an obscure mystery. And, they saved the people that they could save. And this was back before they had black boxes like they do today. So it wasn't as important to try to find the wreckage as it would be today. And it was really a different time. They didn't try to solve every crash like the way they do now.
Got it.
Jeff, I think there's, to me, two really interesting aspects. One, of course, the story of finding the airplane mostly intact and what we can learn from it and all the safety things we've taken from that wreck. But I thought that what's been lost in some of the national stories is there were survivors. And the whole point, it seems to me that the pilots must have done a heck of a job not having the plane break into pieces, but then the lack of understanding after that caused so many deaths. But there were a lot of survivors. Have we talked to many of them over the years?
I have, certainly not myself. As I said, I had never even heard of this crash before. This is like way before my time.
Yeah.
But it is really interesting to know that, the pilot of this plane was able to set it down gently enough. It was kind of a miracle on the Hudson type of deal. And people could have lived, but there was a language distance. I think a lot of the passengers spoke only Spanish and the flight crew spoke only English. And so as a result of these fatalities, the rules were changed. And so when you get on the plane and you're maybe reading your magazine or listening to your podcast and they're talking about these are where the exit doors are, and a lot of people don't pay attention, you should, because if something like this happens, then you are able to escape. And because a lot of people died because they were still strapped in. They were afraid of sharks. They didn't really know what was happening. And so there's a saying in aviation, the rules are written in blood. And a lot of these things that happen, everything that happened is because there was an accident. Some people died or some bad thing happened. And so they're trying to prevent. Now, the safety record we have today is unbelievable. It's so good. But that's for a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I had asked the question to the gang here last week, and it was about why do we have to put our tray tables up and put our seats up right. And Heidi had mentioned it. You just said it. Every rule that's in place on an airplane is there because something bad had happened in the past. So, maybe we got new rules because of this Pan Am jet that went down.
did. It's legendary for that.
But how hard is it to find a plane at the bottom of the ocean?
Well, it depends on a lot of things. One is the depth and how remote it is. This plane was not very deep and big. 2,000 feet is deeper than I could swim. But compared to something like Air France 447 or MH370, these are planes that are miles and miles underneath the ocean, very remote. This one was just pretty close to the coast of Puerto Rico. So this one, and they found it pretty quickly, honestly. It's one of the things that's interesting is that the company that found this plane is called Fugro. It's a Dutch company. And they were the company that did the initial search for MH370. Now, that was 1,000 miles from the nearest land. As I said, 3 miles deep, really, really hard. They spent over a year searching for that and without success. Here, it was just a very, very quick. They put down one of these robot subs, and they were able to scan around and find it.
So is that what they did? Was it sonar, and then they sent them? How did they actually find this plane?
So you've got what's called an AUV, autonomous underwater vehicle. It looks kind of like a torpedo, but it's smart. And so it can go down and sort of work like a search pattern, much like mowing a lawn. You kind of go back and forth in an orderly way, and you can scan. And it's like ultrasound that you would use to see your unborn baby, but it sort of looks outward. And it's like an image. It looks like a photograph of the seabed, and you can sort of see what kind of things are down there. I understand that they actually found a shipwreck that nobody knew was there.
Wow.
Oftentimes you'll find unexpected things if you look at the ocean bed. Think about how 500 years, ships have been sailing back and forth around the Caribbean.
Yes, it's so fascinating. Was the plane still in one piece?
I believe that I think the tail section broke off. And the fuselage sank, so it wasn't. But I think it was moral. It wasn't in a million pieces.
Got it.
Sometimes these really high speed, like a plane dives vertically from 35,000 feet, hits it like the speed of sound. It's just completely obliterated.
Right. We're talking to Jeff Wise, aviation journalist and the host of the podcast Finding MH370. What happens next for this plane?
Well, this was so long ago. This is almost like a historical artifact. They're not going to see the goal of accident investigation today is to prevent things from happening. If there's some error in the procedure, or if there's a flaw in the way some component is manufactured, you want to change it. This plane is so old. This plane hasn't been built in several generations. And so there's nothing really to learn about. We've already learned, as we were saying, the rules have already been rewritten on account of it. So if the family members who still are around today, such as there are, want to do something, regarding recovering the remains or something, that's up to them. I would not expect that probably anything is going to be done in terms of recovering the evidence or reopening the case.
Got it. Does this give you new hope for MH370? You think we will eventually find it?
I think that the case will be solved. I think that having spent 12 years searching the seabed and not finding the plane where the math tells us it's supposed to be, some fundamental error has been made. One of the assumptions that the investigators went into the mystery with has turned out to be wrong, and they need to figure out what that is.
Yeah.
What have we found of MH370? Where are we at? What's the latest, and what's still left out there?
So there's a private company called Ocean Infinity, which back in 2018 volunteered to take up on its own dime the search that the Australian government had funded, again, with Fugro, the same company that found this new plane, plane from 1952. But anyway, they have been searching the seabed on their own dime They have an agreement with the Malaysian government that if they find it, Malaysia will pay them $70 million.
Oh, my gosh.
And they have searched a really huge area, way bigger than, in fact, the total area searched is the area of the UK.
Oh, my
so
gosh.
Like the size of a country. And it's not where the math said it was going to be. Why? How can you explain that? That's why I have the whole podcast delving into it. But there have been pieces that have washed ashore, but these pieces have mysteries attached to them as well. The whole case is very, very strange, very technical in nature, absolutely fascinating, though this is the greatest mystery in aviation history. And the question that I think you started out with was, does this case give us hope for MH370? I mean, it certainly shows us that planes can be found after a very long time. And so, yeah, I personally feel confident that this mystery will be solved. It's not where people thought it was. The question is, where is it? We have to really go back to brass tacks, go back to basics and look at all the facts from the ground up. And then we really have to take it seriously. And I think there should be like a blue ribbon panel of scientists and experts from around the world who don't already have a stake in the game and to look at it with fresh eyes.
And when you say brass tacks, I mean, where do you start? What are the 3 key points?
One of the fascinating things about MH370 is that in this age where everything is being tracked, there's all these radio transmitters and everything. This is a plane that has so little information. Whoever took this plane turned off all of the electronics, did a 180-degree turn, flew right over a Malaysian Air Force base, and then flew out of radar range and disappeared. And then somebody on board this plane turned the satellite communication system back on. And that data that somebody turned back on, that's the only clue that we have about where the plane went. And so the math behind it is pretty complicated, but you have to get back to the question of who was on board this plane and why did they do this? Why did they? Because in order to turn this box off and back on again requires a pretty sophisticated knowledge of the electronic system of the aircraft. And I've talked to a lot of 777 pilots in the last 12 years, and I always ask them, how do you reboot the satellite communication system? And they all tell me that I have no idea what you're talking about. So how was it that this very arcane thing came to happen? And as a result of this arcane thing, the data that tells us where the plane went came from. And parenthetically, when you look in the ocean where the data says you should look, the plane isn't there.
So what do you think happened?
I think there's something important for people to look at is the possibility that this plane was electronically tampered with, because we live in an era of cyber attacks, cyber hijacking. People are manipulating data. People are creating illusions electronically. And this plane had some really unusual characteristics about it. Probably not one plane in 1,000 had the exact characteristics that this plane had. And so I think to really understand the case, we need to really understand why this was so strange.
Jeff, it's funny as I started going through, what could have happened as you described how it turned and the black box and all that back on, almost would be the first thing that occurred to me, some sort of altercation in the cockpit, and one guy turned it off, another turned it on. It is just mind-boggling and fascinating, the whole story.
Yeah, I think it really does reward a deep dive into it.
Yeah.
And that's why I have this podcast where every episode, one of the things I love about doing this podcast is that people will write into me and say, hey, I have this idea. And so somebody about a month or two ago wrote in and said, did you know that the French were collecting hydrophone data in the southern Indian Ocean on the night that this plane disappeared? And we were able to retrieve that data, which had never been released before.
Whoa.
And so, so the latest edition of my podcast is talking to the guy who recorded this data, listening in the ocean for the sound of the impact. And what did they hear? And what does that tell us?
Very fascinating. Yeah. Jeff, this has been a great conversation. How can people listen to your podcast, Finding MH370?
It's called findingmh370.com. If you could just put that into your browser. I'm also on the YouTube at Jeff Wise. My name is Jeff Wise.
Okay. Thank you so much. Keep up the search.
Thank you so much. Always a pleasure.
Going back to Pan Am, I was telling Bob I went to Key West for a wedding, and we're just walking around town, and there's a sign outside of a restaurant that says, hey, guess what? This is where Pan Am was founded, in Key West, Florida. And then I told Bob, I said, Key West up until the late 1800s, early 1900s, was the biggest city in Florida.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
Key West.
It's such a cool little city. It's on my list. We've already found like a really cool RV park. We just need the time to get there. You're actually on the water, and each spot has a tiki hut. It's gorgeous.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
But you were saying like about this flight that went down. Every article that you pull up, it says everybody should be thankful for this wreck because that's what led to the life vest and the communication.
Pointing
and
to all the doors.
All of it. Without this going down, none of that changed.
Yeah. So, Bob, you might find this interesting. The United States Post Office needed a airline company to run mail from the United States to Havana, Cuba.
Okay.
And a couple of guys in Key West said, we could do that. And they founded Pan Am.
It started
That's
out.
the way it started, huh?
That's
delivering
the way it started.
mail.
1927, first flight, and first international flight to Havana, Cuba, delivering mail.
How about that?
And then we got Pan Am. Did you ever fly on it? It was gone by the time I got flying age.
I don't think I've ever been on Pan Am. I don't think so.
It has a mystique. Wasn't there a TV show with that centered around the flight attendants? I think it was called Pan Am. Christina Ricci was in it.
Was it Pan Am? I couldn't remember which airline it was. There definitely was one, kind of based off of a Madman, kind of that era.
Yeah. And Catch Me If You Can. He posed as a Pan Am pilot.
We are here with the man, Ryan Raphael. He's the Medicare man of St. Louis. Ryan, one of the biggest misconceptions about Medicare when people reach the age of 65 is if they don't sign up at age 65, they get penalized.
So really what happens is when people are approaching 65, they get all the literature and things coming at them that looks like they have to do something. If somebody is working, they really do not have to sign up for Medicare as long as they're part of an employer of 20 or more employees and they can take it out down the road and not pay penalties.
So if you're over the age of 65 and you have not signed up for Medicare, there's no penalty. There's no reason why you can't do it at age 65, 66, or 67, or 70.
That is correct. Yep.
That is Ryan Raphael. If you're approaching 65 and you have questions about Medicare, he is the man. The Medicare Man, STL.com, 314-368-6808, Ryan Raphael. And if you don't trust me, trust my nanny. My nanny says he's the best. Ryan Raphael, the Medicare Man, MedicareManSTL.com.
John Beal Roofing has been proudly serving homeowners and businesses in the St. Louis metro area on both sides of the river in Missouri and Illinois for over 3 generations. A dependable roof begins with a team you can count on, and that's exactly what you get with John Beal Roofing. Recognized as one of Roofing Contractor Magazine's top 100 roofing companies, John Beal Roofing offers 24/7 emergency service and industry-leading warranties, including a lifetime workmanship warranty for total peace of mind. From upgrading an aging roof or completing a full replacement, the team at John Beal Roofing delivers solutions that are built to code, built to last, and handled with expert care. John Beal also responds quickly with reliable storm damage services backed by decades of experience and 24/7 emergency support. Get started today for expert service and a free, no-obligation estimate by calling 1-800-NEW-ROOF. That's 1-800-NEW-ROOF.
St. Louis is a small town, and we all know it, especially Indoor Comfort Team. Since their beginning in 1979, Indoor Comfort Team Heating and Air Conditioning has served their neighbors with old-school honesty and integrity, fair and common-sense pricing, and fast, reliable service with real human support. When you call them, whether you need a second opinion or a whole new HVAC system, you'll get a real human being on the other line. No AI, no robot answering machines. From HVAC installation to repairs, even water heaters, Indoor Comfort Team will take care of you. And with summer already upon us, maybe it's time to get that air conditioner checked. Indoor Comfort Team takes care of our community because they're a part of it. Check them out today at indoorcomfortteam.com.
Or call 314-894-8200.
When you want to send flowers to a loved one for a birthday, anniversary, or that special occasion, call your friends at Walter Knoll Florist. Walter Knoll is family-owned and operated and offers custom designs by expert designers. A huge inventory and selection that only the largest florist can offer, with quality and care that no grocery store florist can meet. They have several locations in the St. Louis metro area to serve you. Order online today at WKF.com. That's WKF.com. Walter Knoll Florist, your personal florist since 1883.
Did you know Florissant is 240 years old this year? Come out and celebrate 240 years of Florissant at the historic Old St. Ferdinand Shrine. Join the City of Florissant and Old Town Partners for an evening of community and fun. Festivities begin at 5:30 with the unveiling of a 240th anniversary plaque, followed by live music from North Wind's Band at 6 and a family-friendly movie beginning at 7:30. Food and drinks will be available from Knights of Columbus 2951, sponsored by CNB St. Louis Bank and Helfers. Come celebrate Florissant's past, present, and future. We'll see you at the Old St. Ferdinand Shrine.
That's Wednesday, July 29th. Join in the celebration.
Wake up, it's a brand new day.
Getting your weekday started the St. Louis way. It's the McGraw Show.
My name's Carl, the intern. Thursday on the McGraw Show, Antonio French is going to tell us what's right with St. Louis City. And McGraw will get the phone numbers right. And the text line right. And the time. Oh, no, not the time.
McGraw, Millhaven, Rose Dalton, and Carl, the intern. Weekday mornings, 6 to 10.
Right here on your hometown station, the Big 550 KTRS. You're listening to the Heidi Glaus Show with Josh Gilbert and Bob Ramsey on the Big 550 KTRS.
Meet me.
It is 5:31. Captain Paul, how's traffic moving along?
Heidi, no accidents, but 270 south is heavy from Ladue Road down to Manchester. 64 west is crowded from Kings Highway to Clayton Skinker, and it's stop and go between Lake St. Louis Boulevard and I-70. 64 east bogs down from McKnight to Big Bend. 64 east is jammed between Illinois 157 and 159, and 64 west is busy between Illinois 158 and Greenmount. This traffic report is brought to you by Stages St. Louis. Get your tickets now for Stages St. Louis. Take a trip back to the 40s and 50s with Guys and Dolls, which runs July 24th through August 23rd. Then Stages will wrap up this year with the incredible true story of Come From Away. Call 314-821-2407 or visit stagesstlouis.org. From the KTRS Traffic Center, I'm Captain Paul Kopsky on the Big 550 KTRS.
All right. Do you guys pay attention, now that our international soccer tournament's over, I've started to tune in to the Tour de France.
Oh, my friend Missy is glued to it and knows all the inner workings of who's trailing and leading.
Missy's in on all that?
My God.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
I don't know all that, but I kind of like to watch the scenery,
It's beautiful.
Beautiful scenery. They go up to the mountains and then they go by the lakes and,
It's kind of cute. That's how you look at baseball, the jerseys.
I'm watching I just said to Bob, hey, those look like pullovers, because most MLB jerseys, they all got buttons on them now. Must be a throwback or something. But the Tour de France is currently going on. I think it'll wrap up on Sunday as they race down the Champs-Élysées and close out this version of it. But there's an interesting story that came out of it. And Eunice Vingegaard has won the Tour de France a couple of times. He's not the favorite this year, but he's the favorite to come in second, but not anymore. Apparently, they do some doping tests. And right before the mountain
Have you
climbs,
heard of Lance Armstrong?
Lance Armstrong test, they call it.
Yeah.
right before they headed up to the mountains, which is, I think, is why you dope, because the mountains are so grueling.
I think you dope to win.
Yeah,
well,
just to do it. Yeah.
But you want to have some fresh blood for the mountains. Apparently, they're only supposed to test, or normally supposed to test you between 6 a.m. and 11 p.m. They woke this poor guy up at 2 a.m. and drug him out of bed and gave him his test, his drug test. The leader of the race actually was woken up at a normal 5 a.m.
Normal.
At least it wasn't in the middle of the night. Tell me what you guys think about this. The very next day, I guess later on that day, in the race, he ends up getting into a terrible accident, dislocates his shoulder. He's out of the race. He doesn't say it, but the guy in first place says, I can't imagine getting woken up at 2 a.m. for an elite athlete is going to help. It could have been a cause or a factor in his wreck.
Fatigue or whatever, yeah.
Fatigue, not being right. Who knows how quickly he got back to bed. But I thought it was very interesting to see. 2 a.m. wake-up call.
Well, how was his blood?
Well, they let him race later on the day, and then
I don't know how long
crashed out.
it takes to test
Yeah.
it. That was
And
my
is
question.
is that a usual? Is it a random time so that you can't? I mean, I need more information.
They say the normal window for testing is 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. The leader of the race, the gold jersey wearer right now, he got woken up at 5 a.m.
Right.
So that's outside of this window. I can't imagine.
Well,
that,
maybe things were starting earlier, or maybe there were other things. We need to go to my Tour de France specialist.
Yeah, ask her what she thinks of this 2
I
a.m.
will.
wake-up call. The leader of the Tour de France called it inhuman and suggested it ruined his sleep and could have been a factor in the crash that ultimately forced him to bow out of the race. So, I mean, just imagine, Bob, don't they have stories where, in the NBA, in the finals or something, people are pulling fire alarms in rival hotels? Sure. It's a thing. It's a thing, but it shouldn't
Back
be.
before cell phones and every hotel room had the phone and people would get the number and send calls at 4 in the morning.
At 4 in the morning to wake you up or whatever. That's a rivalry thing. But this was an official drug test. Let's hope in the future they don't wake you up at 2 a.m.
Mom, what do you always say? There's nothing sadder than jewelry that sits in a drawer. That's why we are proud to offer jewelry repair on site at Newstetter's Fine Jewelry. We know that your jewelry is important to you, and we take that part of our job very seriously. Visit us at Doherty Ferry in Big Bend or learn more at wowdiamonds.com.
Jill Farmer for Premier Heating and Cooling. Summer in St. Louis means your air conditioner basically clocks in with a full-time job. And if your AC is 15, 20, or maybe even 25 years old, it could be working a whole lot harder and costing you a whole lot more than it should. A newer, high-efficiency system from Premier Heating and Cooling can cut cooling costs dramatically compared to older units. In some homes, upgrading from a 20-year-old air conditioner to a modern, high-efficiency system can reduce energy use by 20 to 40%. And even a professional clean and check tune-up can improve efficiency, airflow, and help your system keep up during brutal heat waves. Add in a smart thermostat, and the Department of Energy says homeowners can save another 10% a year on heating and cooling costs. So before your old AC taps out during the hottest week of the summer, call the highly trained team at Premier Heating and Cooling. Financing options available. 636-916-1122. PremierHeatingCooling.net. Comfort you can count on.
If you or anyone you care about is facing a family legal matter, call Cordell & Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. Divorce touches all areas of your life: your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on.
If you or anyone you care about is facing divorce, contact Cordell and Cordell today. With over 100,000 clients served, we understand the challenges you're facing on a personal level. Call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. That's 1-855-GET-LEGAL. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. 600 Kelwood, St. Louis.
Hey, St. Louis, temperatures are rising, and if your AC isn't blowing cold enough, trust the experts at AAA Home Services. For 56 years, they've been fixing it right the first time. Our expert technicians are qualified to work on any system with any issue. We can even perform your annual maintenance on your air conditioner before it gets too hot. And if you need an estimate on a new system, we can do that too. For 56 years, St. Louis has trusted AAA for heating and cooling, electrical, plumbing, and appliance repair needs. Call 636-397-3200. Online at AAASTL.com. Call AAA. We're on our way.
Congress doesn't need more politicians. For nearly 30 years, Joan Von Dross dedicated her life to helping students learn, grow, and succeed. Now she's running for Congress to fight for lower healthcare costs, stronger public schools, and a more affordable future for Missouri families. Teachers solve problems. Politicians play politics.
I'm Joan Von Dross, Democrat from Missouri CD2, and I approve this message. Vote for me on August 4th.
Paid for by Von Dross for Congress.
Your retirement isn't just numbers on a statement. It's your family, your time, and your future. Listen to the Financial Safari with Greg Belger. Sundays at 5 p.m. right here on the Big 550 KTRS.
You're listening to the Heidi Glaus Show with Josh Gilbert and Bob Ramsey on the Big 550 KTRS.
Well, let's talk a little entertainment news. Ed Harris feels underused as Everett McKinney on Dutton Ranch, and he is not happy about it. In a Variety interview published earlier this week, he explained why he asked his team to get him out of Yellowstone spinoff midway through filming season 1. He said, I felt a little bit misled prior to signing on. I was talked to quite a bit about what the season was and what my character was going to do, and that I was one of the 4 main characters. That wasn't really the case.
True.
So
I think his role picked up. That's why they mentioned mid-season, and I think things are better from what I've read. But yeah, he was hot.
Jason Kelsey shared that his brother Travis did okay while performing a song at his wedding. He said Trav can sing. He's always been able to carry a tune. Obviously, paled in comparison to some of the other people singing that night, but he did okay. Trav's good.
I mean, Sir Paul McCartney?
Stevie Nicks.
Stevie Nicks.
Yeah.
Oh, I
and
didn't see that.
Travis Kelsey.
And Taylor Swift.
Yes, of course.
Herself.
Well,
Did they say what song it was?
They said it was a duet.
A duet.
Yeah.
Don't go breaking the heart. I couldn't if I tried.
That sounds like that was it.
I don't think it was that one. While we're talking football stars, Aaron Rodgers reunited with his estranged family members after years apart. Yesterday,
Really?
yeah, he shared an intimate photo on Instagram following another bonding week with his loved ones. He ended the caption with the hashtag #FAM. The timing of his apparent reconciliation with his mom, dad, and older brother is unclear. During the decade plus that Aaron has spent estranged from his family, he's spoken about the source of the dysfunction, most recently in his 2024 Netflix docuseries in Aaron Rodgers' Enigma. He blames some of the tension on his parents' devout Christian beliefs. So I think one of his brothers was still absent. Anyway,
he's got a
interesting.
younger brother, Jordan.
Yeah, that one was absent.
Who does SEC games.
I think the one brother was the two of them were the source of the conflict between
and maybe
the two
even
brothers.
high school sports
Yeah,
and
really competitive, and maybe the parents kind of took sides.
All right,
something
guys,
like that.
I swear, I don't watch The Bachelor.
Yeah.
Or Bachelorette. But I did watch the season with Aaron Rodgers' brother.
Well, then you...
Just that one season. Just that one time, guys.
Yeah.
The exception that actually proves the rule. Anyway, they do these homecoming things. He ended up winning the season.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. You know, it was one girl, and he was the one that she picked. But they do these homecomings. They went back home, and they talked all about it. I have been fascinated by this. How do you just lose they would send presents to Aaron Rodgers, and he'd send them back home.
Yeah.
To his own parents. So I'm really happy to see at least these steps being taken.
Yeah. Well, speaking of family drama, Vivian Jolie Pitt, Brad's biological daughter, is the latest of their kids to drop the Pitt name. A source says if people knew the whole truth, they would have more sympathy for the children and respect them. The fact that they aren't speaking ill or sharing things publicly shows their decency. I don't know what happened on that plane, but it was not good. And let's not forget, he stopped drinking, so...
Yeah.
Rosie O'Donnell claimed late director Penny Marshall urged her to lose 20 pounds on the set of A League of Their Own. She recently discussed her recent 60-pound weight loss and how it's changed her life. She said it's very strange to just buy a pair of jeans that fit. She said, when I would do late night, my biggest concern wasn't my set. It was, did I look fat? She also said that she wished she could have enjoyed the size she was.
League of Their Own was on today, this morning.
I never turn it off if it comes on.
And I actually made a note. I go, Rosie actually looked pretty good.
Yeah.
She really did.
Not too shabby.
Rosie is guest hosting Jimmy Kimmel Live on August 17th for the whole week.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people go into reruns. Jimmy Kimmel just gets other people to do it.
Yeah, I think Coleman Domingo's doing it this week. Tiffany Haddish was doing it.
Like Joan Rivers used to host when Carson
had a lot of
guest hosts too.
That's where Jay Leno came from, right?
Yeah.
Jelly Roll's daughter says everyone will be shocked the day she shares the real reason behind her dad and Bunny XO's divorce. She said, quote, I promise y'all, the view of what y'all have is not only the situation, but their relationship and the internet totally about to crumble. And I'm reading that the way she wrote it.
Didn't Bunny?
Well done.
Thank you.
Bunny came out and did this whole podcast about their breakup, and then they took it down.
Yeah.
Well, usually when somebody says when the truth comes out, usually it has to do with legal situations, and then the truth never comes out.
Yeah.
Because it's made up.
Yeah, the lawyer. We saw you said the truth is going to come up. No,
Was
it's
that
not.
happening?
Yeah. Remember those papers you signed?
Yeah, it ain't coming out.
Okay, on to happier news. Whoopi Goldberg made Anne Hathaway cry, but in a good way, by praising her thriving career. She said, Anne Hathaway, it's been wonderful watching you grow up, and you have just blossomed, turned into a fabulous actress. So,
she is good.
Yeah, I think so too. Shania Twain brought her horses with her to London when she opened for Harry Styles on tour. She said, I ride my pajamas in the morning, just barefoot. It's a great escape.
Did you see her on CBS
I did, yeah.
Sunday morning? They rode through Hyde Park.
Mm-hmm. It was pretty cool.
I wonder if the reporter, I can't remember who did it, he seemed to be, fine behind the reins.
He hung on.
Something Doan. What's his...
Seth Doan?
Yes, Seth Doan is who did it.
But it's like, if you asked me to get on a horse right now, you're interviewing Shania Twain, you guys are going to do it on horseback. I'd be like, okay, just is the horse going to, know what to do? Because I'm not.
I'm going to tell you, he has a say in that. They're not just going to say, go ride it. It is a, can you ride a horse? And then, yes.
Okay.
Tim McGraw is gifting one lucky fan a pawn shop guitar at every stop on his pawn shop guitar tour. He says it's his way of paying it forward to the next generation of dreamers, which is kind of cool. Carson Daly hooked Riley Green up with a custom chair for The Voice, so he'll be able to keep his cowboy hat on set. It's kind of a holster for the hat. And he also teased that the holster will be part of his strategy, saying, what I found out is having that hat, whenever you're going to get somebody to pick you for their team, you can pull that hat out, put it on, and they know you're serious.
Oh, okay.
The Voice premieres Monday, September 21st on NBC. A Snoop Dogg biopic is coming out next summer, which might be interesting. And the World Cup final got 63 million viewers across Fox, Telemundo, and Peacock, which smashes the record for soccer viewership in the U.S. Josh, you mentioned this earlier about the books. The Odyssey selling. Audiobook streams of the Odyssey have jumped since the movie came out. Spotify says it's on track to be up 680%, which is kind of crazy. If you're looking for something to watch tonight, you've got the rebooted Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Larry David and his daughter, Cassie David, play for charity. Ben Affleck teams up with Jeopardy champion Jamie Dean. My Grandfather Charles Manson is on Hulu. Remember I mentioned that this girl figured it out? Well, she figured out her grandfather was Charles Manson. She made a documentary about it, and you can watch that. Let's do a couple birthdays.
How many you want, Josh?
We could do 3.
Okay. I'm going to do a tough one, then a trick one. Okay. This is a tough one because you don't know who it is.
No.
But I'm going to do it anyway.
Okay.
I'll explain. Franca Potente.
Why do I know that name?
I first saw her in a great German film called Run, Lola, Run.
Oh, yeah.
It's really good. And then she was Matt Damon's love interest in The Bourne Identity and The Bourne Supremacy.
Yeah.
So now you know who she is. How old is Franca Potente?
Gosh, that had to be the late 90s. I think she's probably 52.
Oh, I was going to say 52. I'll go 50.
He stole it from you.
I know.
52, Josh. Well done.
We'll talk to Max tomorrow. By the way, Max's topic is silent movies.
Silent.
But we can talk to him. Run, Lola, Run. That was one of those movies where they did the same, but from 3 different. They went back and did it from 3 different angles.
Really good movie. Did you like it?
Oh, yeah.
It won a lot of awards, didn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
It did. Really good. Okay. I'm not going to tell you what's the trick. Our next one. You know him as Sergeant Elias from Platoon and many, many other movies. He's a great actor. Willem Dafoe.
Oh. Strange guy. He is 76.
73.
71. And I read the wrong one. Here's the 2 trick ones. Are you ready?
Okay. Yeah.
From the Eagles, one of the all-time greats, Don Henley. How old?
81.
79.
Bang, got it. 79. And finally, comedic genius. You may know him because you're in the know as Albert Einstein. Of course, we all know him as Albert Brooks. How old is he?
Shoot. Is he 83? 83?
What's the connection? Don Henley, Albert Brooks.
91.
He also is
79.
79.
Oh! I was trying to flip some. Okay. Well played. All right, let's take a quick break.
One thing, I try to do is not think about all the money I have to spend. But sometimes it goes through your head and you think, I got to buy this, I got to spend money on that. But the money that you spent on your house is probably the biggest single purchase you've ever made. So it makes sense to protect it. And you know what? There might be things going on up top there on the roof that you can't see. Allen Roofing can. They don't even have to go up there. They can send some drones up to have a look, find out the problem, give a diagnosis, sit down with you and say, what shall we do from here to protect that asset of yours that you spent all that money on? It only makes sense, whether it's a roof, whether it's siding, tuck pointing, anything to do with the outside of your house. They will help you protect it. Find them online at aroofing.net.
You're selling your home, and I want to buy it. This is Mike Robinson with Robank Properties, and I am ready to pay top dollar for your home. No contingencies, no inspections, no monkey business. I buy your home no matter the condition or location, and you walk away with cash. Call me, Mike Robinson, at 314-283-0867, 314-283-0867, or at robankproperties.com. That's ROBANG properties.com.
Summer is a time to relax with friends and family. Vacations, barbecues, pool days, even movie nights. But for thousands of our neighbors in the St. Louis area, their struggles don't take a vacation. That's why all of us here at KTRS are partnering with Catholic Charities of the Archdiocese of St. Louis for a Christmas in July promotion.
Merry Christmas, everyone!
Presented by Royal Mesa, Missouri. We'll be hosting another family movie night at Westport Plaza for a free showing of The Sandlot, Friday, July 31st. Come out and enjoy the movie on the massive screen at Westport Plaza and bring an unwrapped toy or non-perishable item for Catholic Charities of the Archdiocese of St. Louis.
Whew, only 10 million more lists to go.
This summer, while you're making memories, help someone else find hope. So come out to Movie Friday, July 31st, for a special screening of The Sandlot. Or visit ccstl.org and make a donation today. It's the Royal Banks of Missouri Christmas in July promotion on the Big 550 KTRS.
Presented by Appliance Discounters, Connor Roofing, Metal Exchange, Galmish & Sons Heating and Cooling, Allen Roofing and Siding, and Altair Travel.
All right. It's about 6 minutes before 6. Let's get one final check of traffic with Captain Paul.
Heidi, there's a crash on 270 South at 44 with a backup to Big Bend. 64 West is crowded from Kings Highway to Clayton Skinker, and it's stop and go between Lake St. Louis Boulevard and I-70. 64 East bogs down from McKnight to Big Bend. 64 East in Illinois is jammed between 157 and 159. And 64 West is busy between Illinois 158 and Greenmount. This traffic report is brought to you by Dents Express. Drive time can be hectic with traffic, weather, and fender benders. Dents Express can help with hassle-free dent removal, minor collision repair, and hail damage repair. Free evaluations, and they take care of the insurance paperwork. They've got 2 locations on Manchester and Baldwin and in St. Charles. DentsExpressSTL.com. From the KTRS Traffic Center, I'm Captain Paul Kopsky on the Big 550 KTRS.
When it comes to mortgage lenders, I know you have no shortage of options. But are you working with someone local who can truly simplify the process? I'm David Goldberg with the Goldberg Group, and as a St. Louis home purchase expert, I know this market inside and out. I specialize in tough-to-complete situations for borrowers who are self-employed, looking to buy and sell at the same time, and may have been turned down somewhere else. Whether you're a first-time home buyer or seasoned homeowner, you can trust me with all of your home financing needs. Call or text me at 314-471-4030. 314-471-4030.
Into left field, hit number 3,000. Save! A Redbird winner!
The rivalry is back. July 27th through the 30th, the Cardinals take on the Cubs for a 4-game series at Busch Stadium. Whether you're wrapping up your workday or looking for a perfect summer night out, there's nothing like Cardinals-Cubs baseball. Share a night with friends, bring the family, or make it a date night as 2 of baseball's most storied franchises go head-to-head. Get your tickets now at Cardinals.com.
I trust Pella Windows and Doors of St. Louis with my home when it matters most. They are the local experts who know our area best. For a limited time, get 20% off Pella projects. Call 833-87-PELLA or visit Pella.com/radio to learn more. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
All right, let's wrap this show up with a couple randoms.
The classic Bill Withers song, Ain't No Sunshine, didn't make the top 40 in the UK when it was released in 1971, but it did crack the top 40 in 2009 after a contestant performed it on Britain's Got Talent.
Makes sense.
Isn't that funny how that happens sometimes?
It's really funny. It's a great song. He was a marvelous talent.
By the way, he says, I know.
27 times?
26.
Oh,
26.
so close. Is that it?
That's it.
Okay. Waiting on another random. You guys, thanks for hanging out with us. Hopefully you'll meet us back here tomorrow. Max will join us, and we're talking about silent movies. Big D will be here, so you can win some of his money. It all starts at 3 o'clock. We'll see you then, hopefully. And until then, see if you can put a smile on somebody's face.
You know, that honeydew list isn't getting any shorter, and you got to make a dent into it. Can I recommend